What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe if you love a little pot roast. Let's go. Let's go. This ain't the fuck like oh, this game he stinks.
Oh shit!
It's time.
You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
Welcome in, everybody. This is A2D Wednesday nights, only on A2D Radio every Wednesday night. We are brought to you by BetUS, and BetUS is a leading online sports book. They've been in the market for over 25 years. You can bet anywhere in the U.S. on everything. Use the link and our promo code A2D. Our link is pinned right in our comment section over on YouTube, and it is in our description over on Facebook. You use that link and our promo code, you get 125% sign up bonus. Go do it. Wait till the show, wait till a little bit into the show and then go do it. But just remind yourself, a little reminder, go use our promo code over at BetUS and get that 125% sign up bonus. I believe you only have to deposit $50 for that bonus to kick in. So no brainer. Ralph Del Vecchio, Greg Milakovic, Ryan Brotto. I'm Tom Arnone. No Eaton. No Nate Moss tonight. Frank Vespi, I think he's on a tropical island somewhere. Just dealing cards. So we'll get all the, the mainstays back. But here we are, and we got a roast to do. How to fix the Phillies. Do we have enough time in the show? I don't know if we do. Joe Girardi's future, which we'll get into. It's one of those situations where we fired a manager, didn't change anything. So, you can go fire another one, be my guest. If people feel like that's enough change for them, and that's always the first to go, and I get it. Hard to fire players, right? So, it's always the first to go, but I'm not – Joe's made a ton of bad decisions. I would have fired him 3 weeks ago, right? That's just how I operate. Like, I'll take the key card from you real fast if I feel like your fingerprints are on blown games, blown leads, whatever the case may be, right? The Roman Quinn stuff, right? How many times are you going to pinch run them for your one of your best hitters, your $100 million man, and then you're gonna designate him today. So we all knew what Roman is, okay? Right? We get the speed, we get all those things, but they're questionable decisions, especially when that guy's coming up the next inning. Like, I never play for a tie. Yeah, I never play for a tie, but you have to also think about that too. Like, hey, if they hit a solo homer, this game's tied up, right? And then this bat's coming up. You have to think ahead a little bit. You can't be missionary. But Joe's in his binder. Who do you blame? Another conversation on where do you start and how much time do you have? Main topic at hand, like we talked about, who likes a good pot roast? Be the roast of the Philadelphia Phillies. They win today, of course, because we're roasting, but that win's irrelevant. It's hard to sweep teams. You see it all around the league. It's very hard to do. But guess what? They got to win. They're in the win column. It all ties into our poll question brought to you by Manscaped, and you can get 20% off and free shipping with our code A2D at manscaped.com. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. It's time to throw out your old hygiene habits. And please, people, upgrade your life. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. Greg's got the lip balm. I got in the shampoo, conditioner, 2-in-1, and body wash, and deodorant. I am smelling better than I've ever smelled in my entire life. And it's all due and because of the great people over at Manscaped. So get 20% off and free shipping with our code A2D at manscaped.com. Our poll question for tonight's show. Want to hear from the people. We got to hear from the people tonight. The Phillies 2022 season is already a lost cause. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, that's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there as well. We beg you. We ask you. Please hit the like. Please hit the subscribe. Please comment in. Please give us a 5-star review. Please be downloading wherever you're watching us at, okay? And stay for a while, all right? Sit in for a little bit here, okay? And we want to know where you're tuning in from and how you feel about this poll question tonight. And if you're just tuning in for some reason in the last 3 seconds, the Phillies 2022 season is already a lost cause. Do you agree or disagree? Greg, we had a poll the other night on agree, disagree that I felt like in the middle, right in the middle. I'm split. And this is where this poll does to me too. Because you're not early, but you still have a lot of baseball. So I hate the early. Like once I'm like a month in, I'm not early anymore. I got to start playing good baseball, right? That's how I've always looked at it. Right? I'll give you a month of the early talk. Right? After the first month, it's not early. After Memorial Day, it's sure as hell not early. You're into June. You're 1-0 in June. Congratulations. Good start to a month. So lost cause is hard to say. You want to say lost cause for a division? Sure. Right? I'm right there with you. Okay? I mean, you need an epic collapse, and you would need to be on fire. Right? I don't know if anybody's feeling the on fire coming. Right? A lot of this is a gut feel. Right? Does it look like a lost cause? Yeah. Is there still a lot of talent on this team? Yeah. Could they get hot? Maybe. Right? Do I believe in that? No, but could you get that last wild card? Because that's not a lost cause, right? That's not a lost cause. You're 4 out of it, 3 out of it. Now, come on, we're talking about playoffs, right? I get it, but the participation trophy world that we live in, and more people get in, right? Everybody's extending how many people get into the playoffs, right? Which makes the regular season not matter as much. Not in baseball still, because what? 4 get in, 4 wild cards and 3 division winners?
Yeah.
Right. So, okay. A lot of teams are making the postseason, but is that still up for grabs? Yes. I mean, I think, what is it? Who is it? Arizona is the fourth team. Arizona. Right. Arizona. I'm going to say it again. Arizona. Are we good? No. Are they good? No. So lost cause. I'm not there yet because and again, not saying this is going to happen, but it's also baseball, right? It's confidence, it's momentum, it's contagious, right? Well, you finally won a 1-run game today, right? You finally did that. Now, can that take you into better baseball? I don't know, but could you win 8 in a row at some point in the month of June, maybe? I doubt it, but is it possible? Yeah, listen, it's baseball, right, guys? It's baseball. We watch enough of it. The talent's here. Now, bullpen, absolutely not. It's atrocious. And until Sir Anthony's your everyday closer, I don't know what to tell this baseball team. I don't know what to tell them. But all that being said, there's enough offensive firepower, you think, here. That's what we hung our hat on. All right, Aaron blew up in the 5th or 6th today. All right, okay. But he's pitched really well this year. All right? He's pitched really well. So the people that are like puffing, not an ace today, cool, guys. All right, these guys get paid to swing it too. All right. So at the end of the day, we won a baseball game today. So I don't care if a guy looks like an ace. I care about wins. I don't care about individual bullshit. Our pitching staff outside of Rangers has been good. It's been very good. F1 bad start the other night against New York. We know that. But overall, been good. So can you figure out those last 9 to your final out? Can you figure that out? And if they can, and we've been saying this for years, they can compete. Now, other years we've started good and collapse at the end, right? We recall this. We all been here, all right? So maybe this is the year, and I'll leave you guys with this. Maybe this is the year where the opposite happens for once. Maybe this is the year where we play our best baseball after the All-Star break, maybe. Okay, maybe, right? Hanging on to whatever hope's left, all right? Not high hopes, just whatever hope's left, okay? So is that possible? Yeah, nobody can convince me that it's completely done, and it's a lost cause. And stop watching. Like, talk to me in middle of August, right? If this baseball is still being played then yes. But again, do your eyeballs tell you that they're not good? Yes. Yes, so does their record. But you're also a runaway from being, okay, maybe you can make one of the wild cards. That's the point. That's the point. And I think everybody, gun to their head, you still believe, and now Segura's out, that's a killer. All right, but you still with a gun to your head believe that this offense should be able to score runs, right? Like nobody lost their whole cause on that. So as long as you haven't lost your cause on that, I find it lost cause means there's no chance of making the playoffs. That's what that means. 4 games out, 3.5, whatever you are, that's not a lost cause. Good baseball team? No, just not a lost cause. Like you can, that's how I do it, and I'm not copping out of it. I'm telling you, there still is a freaking good amount of baseball still to be played. The division done. Night. No, you gotta win like 20 in a row for that conversation.
Maybe like 50 might be the max at this point.
Wanted to go on an all-time winning streak
on the Moneyball run from the movie.
Yeah,
it was like 22 in a row, 23. Hire Brad Pitt, get him in here.
Let's remember that though. They're the king of collapses. So, remember that about the New York Mets. Now, are we the one that helps them with the collapse? No, my guess would be Atlanta, right? Atlanta sneaks in. Miami, anybody but us. But no, the playoffs is not a lost cause yet.
Ralphie?
I don't think it's a lost cause either, so I'm gonna disagree to the poll as well. If you think about it, I think what was it, 2010 Phillies?
We're going back.
Yeah, we're going back because I'm gonna hang my hat on this one. I think it was 2010 Phillies. Mm-hmm. I think we were like 7 or 8 games out of first place in the final month, and we came all the way back and won the
Met collapse he's talking about.
Yeah. So I mean, is it a lost cause? No, not really. I think this team can sneak into the wild card spot, but I mean, if we're talking and going to the NLCS and making the World Series, and that's a dream and a half, for anybody out there that thinks that we can still make it to the NLC championship game. So to the poll, I disagree. I don't think it's a lost cause. As is everybody saying, it's still early. So I'll throw that in there as well. Thanks, but I think this team can pull it together here, hopefully.
Ralph, you know what happened in 2010? What you and I were
doing?
Yeah,
we lost the Giants. Yeah.
No. I'm just talking about in our own lives. You know what was going on in 2010?
What?
You're a freshman in high school, Ralphie.
I know. It was a long time ago.
It's a long time ago, Ralphie.
It was like 25 years ago.
Listen, I love it. I love what you're saying. I love it. And everything that you said, everything Tom said, it makes complete sense. Lost cause, by definition, no. No, because, God, it seems like Memorial Day is symbolizing this year what like the September Phillies have been in recent years. But to Tom's point, like we've talked about before, well, in the years where we have gotten off to the hot start and we have been in first place and we have been feeling good about ourselves, that got us absolutely nowhere. So maybe this will figure it out. This will fix, the trick, and maybe this will get the little mini collapse out of the way, and it'll be smooth sailing from here.
Maybe the new thing for the Phillies now is just we collapse early and then we just pick up steam.
Get it out of our
late
system,
season.
right?
It's reversed now. It's reversed now for us, right? And instead of collapsing late, we collapse early. So I think we got it figured out here. I think we got it.
And I want to put this on the screen because this is a good point too. He says, Molly Mall says, as a Nationals fan, remember we were 19-31 and ended up winning it all. Never say never, fellas. That's a great point.
No, the fact of that is that it's just about getting in, right?
Yeah.
The Braves got in, right? They didn't get in a 90-win team, 100-win team. They just got in. We see it in sports, especially baseball. Just get yourself into it. Because, right? I mean, that's all you got to do.
The Royals, their World Series year. They went from wild card to World Series and won the whole thing.
Yeah.
That year.
It's just so tough. And I don't want to disagree to this poll and just put a blanket statement of like, no, guys, they're the Phillies. Because while that would be correct and the history would kind of back me on that, the reason why none of us feel great, but I lean towards lost cause. And I'll just say it's a lost cause because you look at the flaws of this team. Tom, to your point, we could talk about that for 5 hours. We don't have enough time for that. You have a manager that, everyone's saying fire him. I agree. I think we would have all fired him a month ago, but we've been down that road before. There's no quick fix. There's no quick hot shot, in the wings in the organization or sitting at home that's going to come in and turn this into the team that we expected or anywhere close to the team we expected it to be. I think we all agree that towards the top of the list of needs for this team is a true leadoff guy. And sure, like Uncle Trade Machine and myself, I could say, oh, you can go out and get Cedric Mullins in a month. Like, great, but that's easier said than done. It takes two to tango. And also, it might solve one thing, but then you need 7 other things to go with it. Your quick fix with leadoff, and I don't know why Joe didn't do it before he got hurt, and doesn't seem like we're going to get any chance to see it this year. Gene Segura was that guy. He was that kind of glue of the lineup, and he's basically going for a majority, if not the rest of the season. They say he could be back in September, but who knows if that even matters at the point. Yeah, like everyone, and Tom and Greg, you guys will know this better than I will. Like when they say 10 to 12 weeks, it's really more than that because it's 10 to 12 weeks before they can resume baseball activity, correct?
Yeah, for the most part, with that type of injury, yeah.
Yeah, that's when you got to go down. You got to do your rehab assignments. I mean, I will say this about Gene. It's a tough loss. I mean, I'm not a DD guy, but you're going to be getting DD back. And the only positive is it gives Stott a real opportunity to, I mean, maybe Maton plays too, but it gives Stott a real opportunity to play second base a lot. And I know he's not a natural second baseman, but it keeps him up here and it keeps him in the big leagues for this year, which we know what we don't want. We don't want the ups and downs, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't want yo-yos. I just want to leave him. And if he struggles, good. Then maybe he can get that out of his system. There's enough firepower in this lineup that he can. The one thing I'll say about leadoff, right? Yeah, Gene's probably your most traditional leadoff guy because he handles the bat well. The only other guy I would consider now, and this is taking kid gloves off, and they don't do this, is I would just bat Mickey leadoff. I'll just bat Mickey leadoff. What do you got to fucking lose? Like, what do you have to lose as an organization? Right? Bat Mickey leadoff. Bat a Double who's batted leadoff in the past leadoff at this point. Who cares? Like first off, today I'm fired up. I'll leave you guys. Today you're not going to play Mickey?
Thank you.
You're not going to play Mickey today? We're going to do this show? Like, that's my issue, dude. Run him out every freaking day. If he bats 200, we know he isn't good enough. We know what the other guy is. And when he's hot and he's going, he's a very good hitter, I would say. Very good hitter, right? Dude, but we know he can get hot and hit well. We've seen it enough, right? And he hit good today, right? So whatever. Okay, and if you have a DH spot, maybe you get Castellanos off his feet for a day if Harper's out for a couple days, right? Fine, get Schwarber off his legs for a couple days. But I have no problem with a guy like a Double up here sparing guys that need days because at least it's like it's not a great bat. All right, but at least it's like a pro bat, right?
He's a major leaguer. He's a major leaguer.
Maybe he can lose
as much as he drives us nuts and we all hate him. He's a major leaguer at this point.
Yeah, like maybe he can lose baseball for me. That's all my point is. But run Mickey out there every goddamn day, please. I'm tired of it. I mean, spring training doesn't matter. Sorry for spring. Spring training doesn't matter, but the guy was hot as a pistol, as Will says, okay? And then the Tampa Bay game, he raked, okay, before he get hit by a pitch. So that was like your first like game outside of spring training.
Yeah.
Right? So we don't know if he could have got really hot for us. We don't know how good he could have been. And then he gets obviously typical Phillies, right? He gets hurt and he's out for a substantial amount of time. But like he was hitting well in the minors. Just get him up. I mean, not get him up. Just let him play.
That's why. And listen, we could do a 5-hour show talking about everything wrong with Joe Girardi and what he tries to do. But the thing that pisses me off the most is that it's not even like he's a friggin' manager at this point. He's trying to play professional babysitter. Like, oh, this guy threw 11 pitches 7 days ago, so we can't put him out tonight in a game-saving situation. Or, oh, Mickey Moniak's just coming back, so we're gonna ease him in. No, Joe. Like I swear to God, Joe Girardi, and I've said this 1,000 times in the last week, all off the air, obviously. But I think Joe Girardi still thinks he's coaching the 2009 Yankees. Like, it's not about saving your guys so they're rested for October, Joe. If you're eliminated in freaking August, you know what I'm saying? Like, stop with we're going to ease them along. No, you up until today, and you barely did that. You didn't win in like a week. You know what I'm saying? Like, you were an embarrassment. You were right there with the Pirates and the freaking Orioles. and they are paying nobody. So enough with the lack of urgency. I get it. Like he was talking on the broadcast last night, in the press conference. Oh, I don't want to abuse guys out there. What are you talking about, dude? Throw a guy throwing more than 12 pitches, or guy throwing back-to-back games that's going to abuse somebody? Enough. Are you trying to win or not?
The only thing I'll say about it is like Rangers killed them going 4 innings, so that abuses your bullpen. I know on the surface of what he's saying, right? Because I need my relievers fresh in the second half of the year too. Yep. So on the premise, I understand it, but you're not giving the ball to Mo, babe. No. That's what he needs to understand. You don't have Sandman coming in. The music's not playing. Everybody in the ballpark doesn't say to themselves, "This is a wrap," right? Like it's not that. So know your personnel. I got no problem with you not abusing guys, right? I'm not uncle abusive. You don't want to kill arms, all right? And I know you don't want to kill Sir Anthony coming back from Tommy John, right? But I said it tonight. 11 pitches in the 8th inning, and it was 1, 2, 3, top 9 by you. You just run them back out there, dude. That if it's a long top 9, I understand it. I'm a baseball guy. I get it. But when it's a boom, 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 screw it. You had electric. If I can sit here on a couch and say, that dude's got electric stuff tonight, run him out again, Joe, or actually on a show with Greg, we said, got to run him back out there. If you don't, you're going to lose this game. He doesn't run him back out there. That's what got Gabe fired, and that's what would lead to get Joe getting fired.
Well, what was the example? It was either last night or the night before. All these friggin' situations are like blending. So it was either last night or the game before. Either one. It was one of the games they lost. Brogdon was pitching really well. I believe it was in the
last
first
time
ever. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God, he struck gold. So he was doing really well, and there's a guy on first, and here comes Sir Anthony. It's like, Joe, you don't need to do this, because we all know, because they're still easing in Sir Anthony, who we all would agree is probably the most consistent bright light of this bullpen right now. That's not like Brad Hand, for example.
He's the only guy whose ball doesn't move into somebody's barrel every time.
Yes, he does.
When you see it on TV,
slider,
imagine what that's doing in real life.
Yes,
well, even last night, right, Greg? Sorry, I don't mean to change the pace.
You're fine.
Brogdon out. Hey, let him run out there. Save
that's what Ryan's saying. Yeah.
Yeah, because
I'm agreeing with him. The other side of it is, and later on in the game, I'm not pitching to Jack Peterson there.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna act like he's freaking he's Judge, but I sure as hell ain't pitching to him there. Right? Like not with a base open. Are we fucking okay?
And I thought
I'm talking about, like, I could say, dude, I would not pitch to him here. I'm sitting here saying, don't pitch to him, please. Oh my God. Then we're gonna throw an off-speed pitch down low inside to a lefty when that's every lefty in the country sweet spot. Freaking morons.
Hanging slider city.
JT's been terrible with the bullpen. Okay. JT's been terrible with the bullpen. The pitching coach should have been fired 3 weeks ago. Okay, because I don't even know who that guy is. Like, if I have no idea who you are, I need you fired.
You mean Caleb Cotham?
Yeah, when stuff isn't, when you're not producing, right? When something's going really bad, then I say, okay, this is a voice that's not working. He has no freaking track record. Bye.
Again, last night was Joe Girardi 101, because you could have just it's over managing. Again, it reminds me of good old Gabe, because you entered yourself into a situation when you could have just let baseball speak for itself. The guy is pitching well after giving up. It was either a walk or hit guys on first base. Instead of bringing in Sir Anthony to finish out the 8th, which he did very well, because again, the one shining light of this bullpen, we all know once he's coming in, well, there's no chance they're putting him out in the 9th, because A, that's not going to do him any good, because that's not really what he is. And B, they still have the kid gloves on. So here comes freaking Familia, who I think half of us on the screen, if not all of us, are probably better than him and will pitch way cheaper. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
I'll cover the bag.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, 500K.
We'll remember to do something that we were taught as 4-year-olds as a pitcher. You know what I'm saying? Oh, when there's a play, cover first base. Like we learned how to do that for free.
Any ball hit to the right side, your first movement as a pitcher is over. I mean, it's taught at every level. Like, my guys don't practice it for a month straight, and they know at 13 you better get your butt over there, because if you don't, you're going to hear a lot. But that's the other side of it, Ryan. There's nobody, and we'll get into this deeper in a second, right after Greg goes too, but there's nobody on this roster Who's holding people accountable? And don't tell me Joe Girardi. Where's all the big money holding people accountable? If Familia doesn't get over on that bag and we're playing bad baseball, you better believe if I'm Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos,
He better get smoked in the dugout.
Schwarber, somebody's going over to him and reaming him out for that.
I'm
And this
pulling a Papelbon. Pull a Papelbon.
This is the shit.
It should have been Reese right away, right after the play.
Yes.
Your leader isn't a boisterous leader.
No, he's not.
This is the problem you have. You don't have the boisterous leader in this locker room.
And none of the big money guys you signed are boisterous leaders.
No, you have.
Right? You know what I mean? Between Schwarber, Castellanos, JT, they're all really good players, or normally are really good players.
It's like a lead by example type thing, but nobody's going to get it.
They're the
Has
they're
Harper
the Utley,
ever
right?
been
They're
that
the
type
Utley,
of guy,
right?
though?
No,
because
somebody who's known him for a long time and said, dude, he's just a guy who goes about his job. He feels in the right way, works his butt off, and that's the kind of leader he is. He's not the guy to be outspoken about stuff, right? And that's fine because every leader is built differently. Not everybody is a rah-rah. But dude, when I build a roster out, right? When I build a roster out, I need to make sure that I have guys that will hold people accountable. Like, and I'm not in the locker room where none of us are. But okay, players only meaning cool. Reese throwing a trash can, cool, right? Okay, they're the things I'll take that. Like, I'll take that at least I hear and see some people not happy. But I haven't seen anybody like even say, hey, we're sick of this shit. We're sick of it. We're tired of A, B, or C, right? Happening to us. We're tired of it, and it's time we start doing something about it. Nobody in the press, because everybody's scared to death to call it out, right? And this is the problem with pro sports today. But right, you go back 10 years, Jimmy, somebody on that roster, Worth, somebody's going to say, hey, this isn't acceptable. This is not how we play baseball here. There was accountability, guys.
And then they went out and did it, Tommy, to your point. Right? These guys, right now, these guys are so much in a funk that they could say it all we want, but they're not going to end up putting it on the field, right? Because they're so bad. They're such a badly put together team. For a team that is paid $232 million, there is so many holes in this. It's like worse than Swiss cheese, right? And I'm going to agree to the poll. You know, I'm going to still watch, and everything that you guys disagreed with is completely facts. Like, it is, you still have over 100 games left. You still can go on a run. But when I disagree, I look at it in this way. Can they go out within the next month and win 10 games in a row? I don't think so.
That's a good question.
And then, because we talked about this, Tommy, on Sunday, then you got to follow up that 10 games in a row and then go win 2 or 3 months worth of series.
Yep.
Well, can you, instead of going on the run of 8 to 10 games, can you just win 5 to 7 series in a row?
Is that enough? Because when I look at the wild card standings as of today,
well, say you go 16 games over 500 the rest of the way here. If you go 16, you're at like 86, 7.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not like
no, I mean you're above where Vegas had you, right? So you're going to be in that running, yes. But I look at the teams that are above the Diamondbacks, of course, right? The leaders right now are the Padres, Cardinals, Giants, and then above us, you get the Braves above us. So I look at those teams, and they're, at least the last few years, are generally good teams that are going to be in that mix. You know, do I have an issue thinking we're going to take over the Pirates and the Rockies and the Diamondbacks? No, I think fruition through the year and attrition is going to take care of that. But can we realistically jump the Braves or the Giants or the Cardinals or the Padres, right, in that run? I don't know. For heavens, 8K, I don't think our bullpen can do it. Right, to your point, Tommy, except for Ranger, we've had really decent starting pitching for the most part. Have each of our guys laid an egg here and there and had bad starts? Yes, that happens. You know, today was Nola's. Thankfully, we got a win. Right? How many good starts do we get of Nola that we don't win?
Yeah.
Right? So finally, we get a dud from Nola. All right, it happens. He's been our best pitcher this year, though.
Yeah, with no run support. Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think Zach the other night.
Countless games this year where Nola has gone 7 innings or 6 innings and only let up 1 run, and then we can't get anything
do
on the
anything.
Yeah, we can't do nothing.
I don't think we won the game, but Zach the other night being able to hold that lead or hold the Mets to 3 runs through 6 innings was huge.
Yeah.
Right after that first inning on Sunday night. But I don't know that they have enough to overcome what Joe continues to do. Right? I don't think they have enough. I mean, you look at last night, right? We talked about Moniak and just letting him go. Right? We talk about Stott and just letting him go. Well, Moniak, he pitch hits Odubel for Moniak there late in the game. Now, I'm probably pretty certain it's because, all right, Jake McGee's a tough lefty. Although Odubel's a lefty, he's a major league hitter, hitting 270. Let's see if he can put a ball in play versus a young kid like Moniak. I get that. It would be a lot better, though, if we had a right-handed hitter off the bench. It would make a whole lot more sense. Because other than that, I mean, yes, Odubel got the run in, right, by hitting a
double play, on a double freaking play.
But he hit a double play, but he did score a run. So, in theory, he did a job. But you tell me Mickey couldn't have done that same thing? I'd rather see Mickey in that spot than Odubel, right? But again, we're looking like long-term as opposed to in that moment.
True.
I'm sorry, what's that, Tommy?
No. Like we would like to see how Mickey produces in those tough situations too.
Yeah,
I knew they threw him a bunch of change-ups and then a bat before that, and he looked completely lost. So, and struck out.
Yeah.
And that's part of the growing pains of hitting big leaguers. It's different in AAA. We talk about it all the time. Like double A is probably your biggest. Like, okay, what are you doing there? All right, cool. AAA means
Edie looks like an all-star right now.
But you look at Scott's bat though late in the game though too. The first few swings, he wasn't anywhere near those sliders, and then was able to fight off a tough pitch and get that double down the line that squirted into foul territory. So he was able to see enough pitches to work himself in. We don't know that about Mickey yet. Like, we need to see that from Mickey. And it's just like, it feels like, oh God, lefty, we got to go to someone. We got to go to someone else. But it's not like we had a right-hander off the bench.
No.
Well, how do I develop a guy to be?
Where was our right-hander?
Well, Tom, to your point, I think it's probably fraudulent for me to say this because number one, it's June 1st, and I'm saying this, and I know wins are the most important thing. But if we're in the status right now where, okay, lost calls or not, the team's got a huge uphill climb to even make a wild card spot. Okay. I look at what they actually did, and I give the player credit because he's capitalized on this, but look what happened when they finally gave Alec Boehm consistent at-bats. He learned, and he looks like a professional hitter.
Yeah,
he actually learned.
Got better in the field.
Yes. They stopped babysitting him. Oh, you're struggling? Okay, here's 3 days. No.
Right, you know what people don't understand about this sport, to your point, than any other sport in the world? Right? These things right here got to be on time.
Yes.
Yeah.
They got to get you on time. So if you're yo-yoed and you're playing one day and you're not playing 2 more days in a row, like your timing is never going to go. It's never going to get right. So you're going to naturally struggle if you haven't been in the big leagues for a while, right? Like, that's just fair, right? It's just a fair way of saying it. Like, we do a AAA slider compared to a big league slider is different.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different. So you need to see it as much as you can see it to be able to train your eyeballs to be able to barrel it, right? And it's not, some guys will never be able to train their eyeballs, right? And never be able to barrel it. But you don't know until you run it out there a bunch, especially with a young player. Like, you're talking about your number 1 overall pick in your organization, like number 1 overall pick in the whole draft, right? I got to allow that guy now to go just play every day. Because if you can tell me you don't take Schwarber off his legs, you don't take Castellanos off his legs, but you're worried about beating up Mickey, what are you saying? What?
22-year-old?
I have an option now to say, okay, I'm sort of screwed with my DH spot, right? But I want to get, you're looking at from these baseball, I want to get Moniak playing time. I want to get maybe a Odubel in the lineup so he doesn't get, whatever, right? If you think about from a manager's thing of getting guys at bats, right? Well, you know what, dude? Run Mickey and a Odubel out against a righty one time and give Castellanos a day off, right? like, it's okay. It's okay. Like, that's how you get guys at bats. But I'm not going to shy away from this. Stott and Moniak have to play every day, because when we talk about how to fix the Phillies later on in this show, part of that is I got to develop young goddamn talent not only throughout my farm system, but once they get to the goddamn show. Because developing doesn't just stop. It doesn't stop when you get there. Like, you think these guys get to the ballpark all day? They're there all goddamn day. So what are they there all day for? They're all there all day to get better. Are we okay?
I think Nola is the last person to ever take that leap in the farm system out of everybody. If you really think about it, right? Dominic Brown was supposed to be the guy, didn't really show up, right? John, if you want to put John Mayberry in there, right? Everybody had hopes for him. Nothing.
I mean, go with like guys like Kingery, guys recent.
Scott Kingery, right? Another great name.
I mean, Alex.
Oh my God, he's the next Chase Utley. We have our second baseman of the next 15 years. And
we just called him up. Nick Maton's back.
Well, what I was going to
2.0.
Yeah, well,
there you go.
I'll say this: Alec is that other guy who's developed through this farm system, and hitting wise, and he's got better defensively. Hitting wise, looks to be what I was sold on.
Congrats, Bill.
You know what I'm saying, guys? Like, that looks to be we were all sold on. Is that this guy's a pure hitter to all fields, and he's shown that. And guess what? Like, that's what you have to do.
You like, and this is what I was going to say. And again, it could be seen as fraudulent because these names I'm going to bring up, vaulted you over the luxury tax. But when you talk about this season, in my opinion, again, it might not translate wins and losses, but it's about turning whatever hell we've been in for the last 10, 12 years into something, that's going to at least be something different than what we've seen. I would argue that the Stotts, the Moniaks, the Bohms, all those are equally as important as the Castellanos and Schwarbers. They are because you've gone out and you've tried to buy wins, right? That's gotten you nowhere. The one thing you have not done since that infamous 07 to 11 run was develop talent and develop it consistently. Because when you develop it, at least at a somewhat consistent rate, you don't have to worry about the damn luxury tax or trading 7 prospects for 2 stars because you have to win now because you signed a catcher to 5 years and another guy to 11 years or 12 years or however long Harper's contract was. You know what I'm saying? We're going off of the pace of our core. Our core changes every other year because it's like, oh, bring these guys in. Oh, wait, they suck. All right, we're going to move on. If you have a guy or multiple that you actually develop, number one, that looks way better for us because we haven't seen it in a minute or a lot of minutes. But 2, you don't have to rely on Bryce Harper being an MVP every single friggin' game or Castellanos and Schwarber being right up there as far as ball club carriers. They could fit right in, and we could actually look at it as somewhat successful organization that we haven't seen since 2011.
Yeah, well, you got to develop your young players because they come up through the farm system together. They build relationships together. Part of this is not talked about in Major League Baseball. One, because you're together for as long as you are, is the chemistry side of it, and it does matter. Okay, I'm not making excuses for this baseball team, but the fact of the matter is, you got a bunch of new voices in town now, right? You added 2 more to the mix of voices, right? You need, like Rye, like you're saying, you need some sort of consistency with that. Now, Harper's been here for a minute. So, I mean, right? And Alec, Mickey, Stott, they've all been around each other enough at the lower level. Okay? So, I mean, you have it, but now you got to let it go because you need to have a combination of both, right? It's okay to go out and spend a bunch of money, but you also need to have homegrown stuff that's there too. So it's a combination because you're not going to fix every hole by money. So my bigger question is not what positional players I have. It's what freaking arms in the back end of my bullpen have been developed through this fucking farm system. I mean,
Zero.
Listen, I can literally not scout anybody and just pick names out of a hat and do a better job of having arms out of the back end of my pen in this farm system than this baseball team's done over the last decade. It's a disgrace. It's a freaking flat out disgrace. One freaking guy that you can say like, oh, yeah, he's from our farm system, Sir Anthony. That's it. listen, man, that's not good enough, and that's where the problem lies at, because they've tried to address it in free agency, and it just hasn't been good enough, as we can see.
And the other thing too, because I heard Jason Stark say on the radio that the sentiment is still to win now, right? And listen, I get it. When you go over the farm, when you go over the luxury tax, they're not going to go into rebuild mode on June 1st, obviously.
Nor should that.
No, absolutely not. Like, I'm not calling for that. If anyone thinks I am, based off.
No. You're just saying the report that like the Phillies go all in.
Yeah. But for everyone talking about, you gotta package this young player and this young player to get a Cedric Mullins or another pitcher. Well, like, I feel like this organization is like the last one of the party with realizing, because we've seen this how many past years, guys, where we've had a supposed trade package where. It's a Kingery or a Bohm, for example, or whatever. You could fill in how many prospects, fill in the blanks.
The famous Manny Machado trade package that
that
collapsed.
We clearly value them because we're the Phillies and we do things so well because we won a World Series way back when. But they're so shocked when other organizations don't value them. Oh, you know why? Because nobody knows who the hell they are because you're not giving them consistent time. So if you're not going to give them consistent time to figure out who they are for the future of your organization, give them consistent time. That way, maybe they'll recoup some value, and then you can move them for a flashier name if Dombrowski's going to go after that. Like, nobody's going to care what, a Brayson Stott or a Moniak or way back when a Hazley, for example, because we talked about that for years before he went away, that you're not going to be able to package these players if you're not giving them legitimate, consistent at-bats. There's no way. Because it's not fair to us, and B, it's not fair to them. Because I think you could say this about every, athlete in sports, any sport. Creatures of habit. Well, if you're going to be up, you're playing second today, you're playing the outfield, you're going to be benched for a week, you're going to be sent down, you're going to be coming back up. Nobody's going to get a flow. If you can, God bless. But that hasn't worked in here. That hasn't worked in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that comment a little while ago. Sell. We're going to be sellers at the deadline. Who are we selling? You have to potentially have talent or a farm system to sell. Like, you're not selling any of the guys you just signed, right? You can potentially sell JT, but what are you getting for him, right? If you wanted to, you could potentially sell Noah, right? But I don't think Noah's not an issue, right?
No,
so why would you sell someone that's not an
strength.
issue, right? He's one of your strengths, but he's fairly paid, so somebody's going to take him, right?
One guy.
Outside of that, who are you trading?
One guy. That's it.
But what's he going to give you? You're talking about Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah, I don't know what he's going to give you.
But
right? Maybe an arm or two to be able to. I'm not telling you anything great, but he's not great. So maybe an arm or two.
No, that's exactly.
Able to just clean something up back here, right? I mean, I'm not going to get that from my farm system this year, right? So I got to find a way to do that, right? If I'm all in the win still, I got to figure it the fuck out, right? You don't have time machines. You can't go back and refix everything you did over the last 10 years. Nor can Dave. Right, I think they've had better drafts since they've gotten in. They fired everybody in their scouting department, so they've came in with a clean sweep. Thank God. Here, they got to get better at it. I want to believe they will. Right, over time, they got to do better internationally because that's a crock of shit. All right, I mean, it's a joke.
For real.
It's a joke. I watch all these teams do it great, and they get guys over here that are ready to play by the time they're 2021, and we just don't do it. And I don't know when that's ever going to change. Hopefully, sometime soon. But at the end of the day, that's your only tradable piece because these analytical jerk-offs will fall in love with his on-base percentage. All right? So I don't know what you get back for him, right? I'm not picking up the phone and making those calls. But, right, it's an easy solution because I can do some things then. Right? I could put Schwarber at first base if I have to. Right? I can do some things to be able to, fix that in some fashion. You know what I mean?
Look over, find the spot
put
for
Bohm and then have
Stott or Maton, whatever.
Put Camargo there for a month. I don't give a damn. Put Camargo there. I don't care.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, you could do a couple things. You could put Schwarber there. You could put Camargo there. You could put Allen.
You're right. Getting Schwarber out of the outfield is probably
a win.
A number one.
Yeah, Duble's the worst outfield of all time, and I'd rather have him out there.
And Schwarber says, "Hold my beer."
He's just so slow, right? It's not like he's a slow cat. He's a slow cat. Now,
what up, Sweepsy?
What up, Sweepsy? So you can't say all in. We've had this conversation for 3 years now. You can't be all in and then not see a glaring problem and try to fix it. I'm not telling you that trade package is going to be available to fix it, but I got to go and try to make the phone calls. Right? Am I trying to give up Andrew Painter? No, of course not. But man, if I can get a legit closer back, right? At least a guy that's considered a damn good one, or something in the back end, a damn good setup man. If I can get something back, I got to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not in the position, unless you're willing to bring up Andrew Painter in a year, by next year, unless you consider him major league ready, then he's movable. Mick Abel, right? If he's not major league ready by next year, right, or after the All-Star break, if he's not major league ready, then he's movable to me, because I can't live 5 years from now. I did that to myself. I did that to myself.
And then sadly, we're back in this circle of we can't find homegrown talent. We can't develop guys because we backed ourselves into this corner where you're paying $232 million to a team that's going to finish 50 games under 500. That's not real. That's not a real number.
I get what you're saying.
But so Middleton at that point, it's like we're over a luxury tax. Dombrowski, of course, we know Dombrowski doesn't care about farm systems, and when you win, nor should you. But then we're forever going to be in that cycle of
not necessarily.
We never develop talent. We never do this.
Well, hear me out. Not necessarily, because we're just talking about the top names in your organization being like, okay, you're in the cycle again. No. But you know this. If you do a great job internationally, okay, and then you do a great job when you get kids in-house of developing them, right? Like a lot of organizations do around baseball, then you can, that's a snap of the finger in reality. If you do those two things right? Like drafting's crapshoots. But if you get a guy in-house and you're able to develop them because you have the right people in place, then you can constantly do it. You can do what the Yankees do all the time. The Yankees do it all the time. They literally do it all the time. Oh, we have a need? Yeah. Here you go. Because we know our international side of things is right?
Yeah,
right?
money.
You don't have that. So maybe that changes. But Greg, you to your point, Dombrowski doesn't give a shit, nor should he, because you are in win now mode. So I'm not the guy.
As soon as Harper signed that contract, win now mode was right there.
Yep.
Yeah, it was when as soon as he fucking wrote, Bryce Harper in cursive, it was a done deal. You're in win now mode no matter what.
And the thing that sucks, Ralphie, to your point, is that for 2 years after the fact, we had an ownership group, and most importantly, the people in the front office that had the stance: if we do, we do; we don't, we don't.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my God, you go out and you sign a guy like Bryce Harper. We get it. It was clear for ticket sales. We're not rocket scientists. We understand what it was truly for. We get it. Good ball player, but we know why you did it. You're not fooling anybody. But then, as soon as we're gonna sell all these tickets. Oh no, we don't need to trade for guys to have a legitimate shot before we collapse in September for 2 straight years of making the playoffs. No. If we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. We're fine. We didn't just sign a guy for 13 years. Absolutely not. No, we still have Dominic Brown and John Mayberry Jr. We're cool. No, McPhail. It's not 2014 anymore. I'm sorry.
But listen, they did change over a lot of stuff, right? And you got to hold out hope that things will change at the lower levels for this organization over the next 5 years. And that can be great for a lot of reasons, right? Nick's got a 5-year deal. Schwarber's got a 4-year deal?
4-year deal.
Yeah.
So, and Harper's got 45 years left on his deal. So, you have those pieces in place now. So now you got to figure out, hey, how do I win with that, right? How do I build around that to win with that, right? And when with all 3 guys, they like to K a little bit, right? They like to strike out a little bit, and that's okay. If you have a lineup around it that doesn't. This is how you build a baseball team. Okay, I got some strikeouts in the middle, but around that, I'm not going to have a bunch. But you do.
Yep.
And Sweets, we said this earlier. I know you're just tuning in, but like we said it, like you got the closer on this roster and Sir Anthony. I've been yelling about it before Tommy John. I was telling people the guy's closer. I was seeing it in my memories, and I'm not alone here saying this guy got closer stuff. I mean, nobody on this roster has closer stuff. Corey Knievel is an 8th inning guy, like Sweets is saying. Put him in his role. Put him in his role. Sir Anthony doesn't seem like it matters where he pitches because his shit moves. His shit's electric, right? So I understand he's coming off Tommy John. All right. And you can have a backup closer to him on nights he can't go. Then you committee it. I get it. But from here on out, if you don't start running this guy out of here, you're doing this entire baseball team a disservice. And that's where I agree with Sweeps. You know, better and go trade for a starting pitcher and a veteran outfielder who can play all 3 spots and call it a day. And the rest of your roster needs to look in the mirror. It's gut check time. And we're going to get into, you know, what's wrong with this baseball team. And to me, it starts with a little bit of that. It starts with a little bit of looking in mirrors, and it starts with a little bit of guys holding people freaking accountable, right? The bullpen's been bad. Other things have been bad. I get it. But where's the leadership? Who's going to step up? And not just lead by example, but he said, guy doesn't cover a bag. Somebody get in somebody's fucking face. All right? Somebody step up here.
Yeah. You know what's a little eerie, Tom, to that point?
Where do you start?
Well, it's a lot of things. But the thing that's the most eerie, the conversation we had, 25 minutes ago, and the conversation you just brought up again with the accountability, that bulldog, in the lineup or in the dugout. The same conversation we had about the Sixers. Same thing.
Well, we feel like we had that alpha on the Sixers, right? That's the problem. We have one alpha.
I would argue I'm not saying he's not a leader, but I feel like it's the same thing of just lead by example type thing.
Oh, you're turning on him now?
No.
Turning?
No.
But that's
I think he is.
But that's a difference.
Right? That's not what I'm saying at all.
The injuries have killed it, right? But listen, at the end of the day, I hear what you're saying, but that dude holds the world accountable. Like, he has no problem coming in a presser and saying, hey, that guy needs to shoot the basketball, or Matisse has got to be better, or James has got to be better, or I got to be better. He has no problem calling out the country. So in terms of that, like,
but I'm talking about, like, we've been screaming from the heavens, like, oh, we need a PJ Tucker. We need, you know what I'm saying? Like, one of those guys.
No, we say tough guys. That's a little bit different.
That's kind of what we're saying with the Phils.
No, we're not asking for a tough guy. Nobody on this fucking roster says anything to anybody.
We need to get there first.
But in baseball, unlike the other sports, though, like, your mid-level guy isn't going to go around calling everybody out. You understand?
Yeah, that's fair.
Basketball, that veteran leadership, okay. Baseball's a little bit different. It's listen, I say it all the time, like, dude, they really look at who's got the money, right? Because those guys have been up there. Like, one guy's got 10 years service time. He's taking care for the rest of his life, all right? I need that guy to hold people accountable. I need him to change his leadership style. Until Bryce Harper changes his leadership style and I don't have that other guy in house, I'm going to be the same, like, okay. And I'm not saying you can't win that way, but this has been my biggest knock on the leader of this baseball team is he doesn't do that. He doesn't. That's not. I'm not killing him by it. This is what we talked about when he was in Washington, Greg. Right? You remember? Like this guy isn't. It's not who he is.
And we kind of we looked at Washington and we kind of gave him a pass because of how young he was, right? Yep. But he's not that anymore. Like, he's not 35. I'm not saying that, but he's not that young 21-year-old kid, that just came out on Sports Illustrated. I think he was like 17 when he was on Sports Illustrated. But you get my point. He spent
as much money of his contract as he wants, and he's still taken care of after baseball.
Yes.
Oh, easily.
But I feel like the most fired up anybody on this roster has gotten was not even at themselves. It was at Angel Hernandez. And that was Kyle Schwarber arguing balls and strikes. He was right, by the way. But it's like, where is that after you give up a 7-run lead in the 9th? Where is that after years freaking Familia forgets one of his 2 jobs in life, which is to run to first base when there's a play on the right side of the field? Where is that? Like, I'm not asking Schwarber to go nuclear on everybody every night, even though it'd be very entertaining, probably more entertaining than half the games. But take that energy, you show that you have it, and put it into the guys that aren't doing their jobs.
The problem is like Tommy said, with baseball, though, that's a small select group of people, right? Like Kyle Schwarber, although he's making the money, he's playing like shit. So who's he going to talk to?
No, that's
right.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, and even
Nick.
from
Same with
even
Nick.
from Nick, like the only guy really is Bryce. You know, and you're right, Tommy. Not we're not trying to kill him, but he's the de facto leader of this team, and either guys are going to want to play with him because of the way he leads, or they're not going to play with him because of the way he leads. Right? I mean, it's going to go one or two ways.
Yep.
And then the other side of it too is you need somebody from the pitching side too. It's like, because of the way the teams are separated, it's almost like a football team. Like an offensive guy can't go over and yell at a defensive guy and vice versa. I mean, they can, of course, but like it's not going to go the same way, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not going to go over the same way. It's not going to have the same meaning and the same depth to it because he's not one of us.
You know,
Right.
Machado is
With
more
Tatis. With Tatis.
Machado is more outspoken than Harper is.
Yes.
And I'm not like saying going back revisionist history. I told you what you do. You sign both, right? If you want to spend stupid money, if we go backwards, but we're not there. And this has been my only knock and my biggest knock. It's not about him as a baseball player. Are you kidding me? I mean, that guy's a stud. That guy hustles. That guy's got a cannon. That guy, well, before the army, that guy does all the little things, right? He does it. Like, to me, he had some question marks when he was younger, but his biggest question mark is, can he be the face of your team and lead? I don't know because he's been here and we failed. And not all that's on him. It's one player. But baseball is weird, man. Like, even at 13, right? Even at 13, my guys know who the best are. So if those guys do stuff a certain way, they feel like they can do stuff a certain way. It's hard to explain. Like, even at sweeps at the high school level, the guys know.
Oh, you know it.
You're
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 absolutely right. When you're part of a baseball team and you're in that day in and day out, it doesn't matter what level you are. You know who your best players are, and you know if you're not one of them, who you're looking up to see how they go about and do things.
Well, it's really bothersome because I definitely, when I first started noticing it, and last year's team especially, when they started doing this, they have a pass because they had, they didn't have major leaguers on half of their lineup. You know what I'm saying? When they were trying to make that so-called run, they just were plagued with injuries last year. But the thing that I've noticed with this team, whether it's them talking to the media or them acting the way they do, they lack urgency.
Yeah.
Like, and again, it's not the manager's not a be all end all, even though the manager seems like he's trying to play babysitter, but that isn't his job. It's grown men that should be running this locker room. But when the manager comes out and says, "Oh, well, it's not for the lack of trying. It's still early, and June needs to be better than May." Well, thanks, Joe. Thanks for letting us know. I'm so glad you see that. And again, I don't fault Schwarber for saying this or Castellanos, because I get you want to diffuse a situation, right? You don't want the panic meter to be very visibly on 11, right? But the thing I keep hearing the last 2 weeks, and it's from pretty much everybody who's had a microphone in front of their face, was, "Oh, it's not for the lack of trying. It's we've got a bunch of workers. It's not like we get here at 6:15 for a 7:00 start." Like Schwarber said that last night.
I get the deflecting. Listen, it's deflecting. When you talk the kids and even pros about playing the game of baseball, it's calm and confident, right? I gotta be calm. I gotta be confident, and that doesn't mean you don't play the game like like you're gonna run through a brick wall. I'm not telling you that. I'm just saying you gotta be calm and confident at the plate. You gotta be calm and confident in what you do, because the second you're not confident about what you're doing, you just failed in this sport real quick. So in terms of them diffusing and deflecting, I get it, but at some point that's okay. But somebody needs to yell into a microphone that we can't keep losing games like this.
Well, and
we just can't lose games like this. Hey, we show up early, we work our ass off, and we can't lose games like this. That's all you got to say.
That's why I asked the other. That's why I joked in her.
You don't got to go You don't got to go berserk. You got to say, hey, we're out here working our butts off. We're trying. It ain't for a lack of trying, but we need to start winning baseball games like this. We cannot come up on the losing end and the short end of the goddamn stick, and we got to play better, and there's got to be more accountability, and whatever. It starts with me, right? Like if you're Harper, right? I mean, somebody Somebody that's making a lot of freaking money needs to say it. Even Wheeler, dude, you make a lot of money. You were second in Cy Young. Say, hey, our pitching as a whole hasn't been good enough, and we got to get it cleaned up.
Yep.
And I don't think any of us are asking them to pull what Jake Arrieta pulled a couple years ago, right? On that infamous West Coast trip after a loss
against the Giants.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not asking for that to where you're alienating teammates. Number one, Jake Arrieta shouldn't be talking ever. I get you. You were once a champion, but
no, you don't have to call guys out by name, right?
Exactly.
Nobody's looking for that because that I agree with Sweeps is right. All of that can get handled on a plane, on a bus, right? In a locker room, in a shower, right? Behind anything behind closed doors, fine, right? That's where that stuff takes place, and that's why we don't know everything that takes place. But I mean, it's okay to come out to the media and call it how you see it, too, without calling people and throwing people under the bus.
And that's
what
where bothers me. Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead. You're good.
No, you're saying that's where I joked in our group chat the other day of why doesn't a reporter ask Bryce Harper how it feels to have Roman Quinn hitting after him 3 games in a row in extra innings?
Yep.
Like, if you're not going to ask Joe, or if Joe's not going to give you a real reason, why don't you go to the man? Go to the guy who's most affected by it. Because it's just,
dude. You know these guys.
No, absolutely.
It's so sad because they're around them so much they feel like they got to jerk them off and throw softball questions to them all the time, and nobody's really just saying, "Yo." Like
if they don't ask the hard questions, then they're not going to get any questions. I feel.
No, you know what my question would be? Who are the leaders of this baseball team? That's all I'd ask every one of them. I'd ask Schwarber, I'd ask Castellanos, I'd ask Harper, I'd ask Wheeler, I would ask Nola, and I'd ask everybody that is making good money on this baseball team. Who are the leaders?
Well, it's funny you brought that up. And again, I understand
locker room.
I understand things can evolve throughout a season, but Joe Girardi was asked that like a day before the season on the dial somewhere, one of the two. And his answer, maybe I'm wrong, but I found it alarming.
What did he say?
He said the first guy he thinks of when he talks about the leadership in this locker room. Just guess what he said, because I'll just give you a hint. It's alarming to me. I could be dead wrong in saying that, though.
Rhys Hoskins.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. I see it, though. I see it.
Okay. He's got the
tenure.
The tenure. He works his ass off. I will give Reese that. I'm not a Reese guy. You guys know this, but he works his butt off. He's been here for a minute, right? I find it alarming that I understand him not saying like Schwarber just walked in the door, Castellanos. Sometimes those guys want to get their feet underneath them before they start leading like that. So that's fine to me. I don't expect those two guys to come in and start blowing up everybody, right? But I would have rather have heard that it was a guy here for 12 years. I would have rather heard that. And this is my problem.
Or a $125 million catcher.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
No, we have one of them. We have one of them.
Apparently, it's supposed to be the best catcher in baseball. So
because this is what happens. That guy can hold both accountable. That's what everybody's missing here.
No, you're not.
Where Harper can't go to the pitching staff and say shit, Realmuto can.
Yeah.
Because he handles you daily. This is where your two leaders aren't leaders. They're show ponies to me. It's what they are. They're show ponies. Best catcher in baseball, MV3. We know they're both talented as shit. But you gotta lead in this sport.
See, that's the funny thing, Greg. You hit the nail right on the head. It's everyone thought, and Bryce Harper's right there. Like it's 1A, 1B. Okay. So
I like your comment here. I like that guy. I'm turning you a little bit.
What, well, it's, you know what I mean? It's really
a fraud. Just that he's not that type of leader. That's it.
But it's, to me, when I heard that, it was more of a, like, to me, it was more of a shot indirectly at JT Realmuto. Because if I'm going off of their words, right, since the day he got here, because he's been here just as long as Harper, obviously, and almost as long, if not, because when did Hoskins come up? The summer before Harper or
17?
Yeah, he's been here for a minute.
Yeah, 17, I think.
Hoskins was up two years pre-Harper.
Okay.
Yeah. Because he had that great stretch in San Diego, and we were like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, the Babe Ruth September.
Go.
So like, when they were talking about, oh, you got to re-sign the best catcher in baseball, they kept talking about, oh, he's an embodiment of what we want the culture of the locker room to be, and he's a big time voice in the locker room. Okay, great. If Bryce Harper is going to be that lead by example, just that ultimate professional, he's going to show you what to do out on the field instead of with his voice. I'd rather you be both, especially because you're going to be here for a minute and you're getting paid a lot. But fine, I can live with that. But dude, where are you at? Like, I really look at JT Realmuto as one of the biggest issues of this team. Like, I not to put a pass on the manager and the bullpen and everything, right? Because there's a lot.
You're preaching to the choir right now. So,
and this isn't like revisionist history, because I understood why we had to, number one, had to re-sign him, and B, why we wanted to re-sign him. Completely understand. But we all remember the conversation we had, and I'm not trying to do like I told you so, because I wanted to be wrong. But I was one of the few people that was like, I don't want to pay this guy for 5 more years, because A, with the catching position, and 2, he was already kind of banged up before we paid him. I look at him.
It's a have to pay.
Yeah. And you're set up because of what Clint Tack traded.
You can't trade that and not pay.
And not pay. Yeah, you have.
Just miss me with the best catcher in baseball shit. Just miss me with it, dude. Tremendous talent. We know all about his abilities, and I've said it for a while. Dude's overrated, big time. I've watched baseball my whole life. Over freaking rated. No, he's not even Tobias Harris, because Tobias Harris isn't called the best at his position. This guy is called the best at his position, right? If you're called the best at your position, then wow me a couple times. When has he wowed me? Oh, great arm, dude. Most catchers in the big leagues have great fucking arms. Newsflash, okay? Most catchers in the big leagues have great pop times. And you know what most catchers in the big leagues do better than him, though? Is be able to work pitches, be able to frame pitches, be able to stick pitches. I'm so sick of watching it. And don't tell me how great he blocks baseballs. Screw you. If you're such a great athlete, bro, get off the one knee when guys are on fucking third base, because he isn't the best catcher in baseball. He isn't great defensively. And okay, I can live with those types of things if you're hitting me 30 home runs and batting 285, right? Then okay. But the fact of the matter is he's not good at the plate. He's not good from behind the plate. Like, I can definitely name 5 catchers that I'd want over JT Realmuto.
Tom, correct me if I'm wrong.
Not
Aaron
hard.
Nola pitched better
Right
with
now.
Andrew Knapp last year than with JT Realmuto, correct?
Yeah, I think he actually had better. I think he actually had better numbers while Nat was behind the plate for him.
Ralph, you know what else is alarming, Ralph? This is an alarming talk.
I know where you're going.
I asked Aaron last year. And who would you, off the record, and it's still off the record because he gave a great answer, so it can be off the record, right?
Yep.
But just read through it. Who would you rather throw it to? JT or Nap? Because it feels like you throw better than Nap because you've been with him for a while. You know what I mean? Just one of those things. Chemistry. On the same page. Honestly, my brother, which is a freaking great answer. Okay? Great answer. You think, I'll just use sweeps here because I saw something with Yachty. Do you think if I asked like Chris Carpenter or like anybody there that had a brother that caught in the big leagues, like who would you rather throw to? This guy or Yachty or the backup? Oh, I'd rather throw to my brother? You think that's being said? Think about that for a second with the best catchers in baseball. You think somebody's going to say they don't want to throw to Salvi Perez, they would rather throw to their brother? Because he's not the best catcher in baseball.
Best catcher in baseball.
He hasn't been for years. He hasn't been for years.
No,
he hasn't been here. He hasn't been since the only time you could legitimately say it was his first year with us when we traded for him.
Before the money.
Yes.
Before the money.
Yeah.
And when you play,
because at that point he was still an offensive force. The running game, the one knee wasn't there, right? I think the one knee is ruined catching because nobody blocks balls anymore, right? You know what I mean? Like, or no, none of the new catchers, right? You know what I mean? Yachty's such a. I hate using Yachty as an example just because he's such a goat, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
fucking pimp.
He's the guy, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Greg, it's not fair to use him because if you're talking the best at something, that's what Yachty was for a long time. So it's not fair. It's not unfair to say, hey, you should You know, you
No,
should.
you're right. No, you're right.
Does.
Yeah,
No, you're right.
Greg, you can absolutely bring him up because people in this friggin' city the last 2-3 years talk about Realmuto like he's Yadier Molina. You know what I'm saying? Like this, so no, he's no.
And what's funny, this all circles back to the hole that we have in our farm system at certain positions, right? Like we had to make that deal at the time because that was the start of the win now mode, right? You know what I mean, Tommy? Remember that was 2018. That was we're going to start competing, so we need to start making moves.
He's basically if Harper's Batman, Realmuto's the Robin. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like he's like the second star. You know what I'm saying? That we always talk about basketball. That's what Realmuto's
the one.
Since then,
right, to your point, right? He's the one who's got to be though the leader on both sides of the ball.
Yes.
That's the disconnect, and your main leader isn't a boisterous cat. So then the other guy then has to step up and fill that role, and to me he hasn't. And he's been 247, so I would tell him to go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Like, I don't care because I know a ton of people will be like, oh well,
I can't get out, you can't get a hit.
Well, exactly. Like I understand when people, will say like, oh, well, you can't depend on the catching position as much to be a big part of your lineup. I don't care about that personally. That's just me. If you are given that much money and it was that big of a deal to re-sign you, first off, go get you to where we had to re-sign you and then re-sign you for that additional year. You have to at least, if you're not going to keep a ball in front of you, which to your point, Tom, thank you for saying that. Because I feel like everyone I've talked to be like, oh no, he's keeping the ball in front of him. I feel like the last 4 games, just in the last week,
not this year.
He's looking at the back wall. You know what I'm saying? Miss ball. And I get it. It takes a bad pitch for it to be a pass ball, but don't give me he keeps every ball in front of him. Enough with that, please. Enough. So if you're not going to
ruins it. The one leg ruins it. When he was a normal catcher, he was very good.
Yes.
But he's not this year. Like there's no excuse. He's terrible this year.
So if you're not going to make it up on the defensive end, if you're not going to make it up with your relationship with work and account and all that with obviously your pitchers, I mean, how many times did you have to go out and talk to Juris Familia last night? They had to have 3 mound visits last night in the middle of a blow up because they couldn't get on the right page. 3 in 1 inning. The fans are booing, not because they gave up a lead, but because you can't even communicate with your pitcher.
And he couldn't tie his shoes.
No. And I look at you, okay, if you're not going to do that, get hot for a month. Get hot for 2 weeks. Carry this offense.
Yeah, carry.
And you haven't done that once in the past 2.5 years.
Oh, listen, I mean, his batting average here in Philly, people can poo-poo batting average. You can kiss my ass. But it's 266. His batting average his 5 years in Miami was 279. So it tells me playing in a small market when nobody gives a rat's ass, you can put up your numbers.
Yep.
Right? And simple as that, because every year he's essentially gotten worse. Think about it. So in 2019, he hit 25 homers, batted 275. 2020 doesn't count, shortened the season, right? But batted 266, 11 homers. Then you go for another full year, right? 263, not good enough if you're the best catcher at something, the best player of your position at something, 17 home runs. Cool story. Not enough, right? Not enough. And then this year he's batting 247. 3 homers, 16 RBIs. That's a fucking joke, dude. That's run-of-the-mill numbers. That's run-of-the-mill catching numbers. That's a freaking disgrace. Like Garrett Stubbs could probably give you that same production, and he's not good. So miss me again with the best catcher in baseball, because until he gives me a year where he hits me 30-plus home runs, drives me in 100 RBIs, bats 270, you're not the best at something, dude.
Especially in this ballpark. Right? If he was,
fucking sandbox.
Exactly. If we were playing in another ballpark,
Greg, they all told me like,
you're absolutely.
He'll get better here.
We all thought it. We all thought it, right?
Yeah. And we say that, and we said that about
home runs in Miami. Oh,
yeah,
it's
we
good
said
for
that
25
about
here.
Mickey.
Yep. And now they're talking about with the DH thing. Okay, maybe they'll put Hoskins at DH, and they're going to put the best catcher of baseball at first base. What? Like, listen, I get it. It's good for the legs. I understand it. But now the best catcher in baseball is the best first baseman in baseball.
And I like when people bring up that point too, and they're like, well, the Twins did it with Joe Mauer. Well, Joe Mauer was like 45 and he had no knees left. Okay,
and
that's
there was
why
a period of time where
first.
Joe Mauer was the best catcher in baseball.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is, I would do that. Like, I would get him out from behind the plate. I would move him there and trade it and bring Marshawn up, and Let Marshawn and Stubbs work the pitchers.
Well,
Like I would do it. Pat Culp, I completely agree. Thanks for the super chat. JT gets lazy with his frames. Always notice that. Me too. And whenever I would point it out to people, you would have thought I criticized Jesus Christ. Like you would have thought I criticized the Lord and Savior. No, listen, I don't say I got all the answers, but I consider myself a baseball guy. Like I consider that my number one sport. All right. It's how I make my money too. Right. So I consider I have a feel. I have at least a clue. I don't have every answer to everything, but my eyes sure are pretty good to say, I don't see anybody else doing that. Like you just let it slide. You're like, come on, bro. I need you to stick. There's 10 catchers in the minors that will stick that. Like, come on, dude. Come on. So listen, that's what I do. I move him to first base. I trade Reese, right? I bring something in. I don't know. I mean, if you're asking me like what you could do, I mean, that's about it. And is that going to solve your problems? Probably not.
Well, I mean, it is one of the only things we do because I forget where I started, but our catching depth is actually pretty decent right now in our farm system.
Yep.
Oh, I was going back to why we had to make the trade and then had to sign them, right? Because at the time, our depth was poo.
Yeah, we didn't have
But
anybody.
now you have
That might
the
be
likes
the only bright spot
of
down there.
Marshawn, who probably won't hit the cover off the baseball, but
He's
we already
really
have a
good
catcher that
defensively.
doesn't, but he's really good defensively.
But Marshawn's really good defensively. That's the one thing.
You got a kid in Double-A, Logan O'Hoppe, who's kind of working himself up. So like you're starting to see that depth, at least at catcher. Now, but where's our depth to because this is all going to come back. Where's our depth of our bullpen arms? Where are they at?
Well, you're
in our farm systems.
Sorry, your number 5 prospect in your organization is Logan O'Hoppe, right?
Right, O'Hoppe, that's a catcher, yeah.
Or Hop. Okay, so he's your number 1. I mean, he's your top catcher in your organization. He's 5 on your list, right? And we know, like, okay, we're not going to go off of too much of, lower level numbers, but he is in Double-A. Okay, and right now he's in Double-A and he's batting .294.
There was a stretch 2 weeks ago where I think he hit 5 homers in a row.
Yeah, well, he has 8 on the year, 25 ribbies, 21 walks, 8 doubles. He's been a double guy. He had 17 homers between three teams last year. Okay, so I mean, my point is that you have it right there, and you're not going to hold back your number 5 player in your organization if he's ready to go. Like that's not what good baseball teams do. So what do? Do you trade him? Right? Or do you trade something like Reese, or you move JT to first, right? So, there's options coming soon is the point.
If they're so worried about, oh my God, if you trade Reese, who are you going to move? And I don't see a reason why they
anyone.
Wouldn't. Yeah, like literally
anyone.
But like I'll even look, offside it. Like I'll look at Derek Hall. Okay, who's down? I think he's at AAA right now, and I think he's injured at the moment. But if you look at what he was doing right before he got hurt at first base, that's the definition of a power hitter. Like, okay, if you want to make that small move and platoon him with Boom or platoon him with JT or whatever, like there's moves you can make. You just got to go find it. Like, okay, like I'll ask you guys this: like, would you, like Hans Kraus is down there, who Dombrowski loves. They're talking on the broadcast today about, moving Ranger back to the bullpen. I don't necessarily think you need to do that because I think your closer's already there, and we talked about it for like 45 minutes at Sir Anthony. But I get why that would be the case. So, like,
guy, right? You could use a legit lefty out of the pen and outside of Brad Hand. It'd be nice to have somebody else with experience. So whoever brought that up, I mean, Hans Cruz's ETA is 2022. Logan O'Hoppe or O'Hoppe, whatever, ETA, guess what, boys? Guess what it is? 2022. Guess where we're at right now, boys? 2022. So their ETAs that be in the big leagues is now. It's not next year. That's not their ETA. And I'll look up what's his face's numbers right now. Cruz. I mean, he's getting handed around a little bit. I mean, he's 0-2 with a 5.14 ERA.
The only issue I have with moving Ranger to the bullpen is he can't throw strikes right now. So what's he going to go to the bullpen and all of a sudden throw strikes?
Well, the one thing I would say,
Maybe
you're
less
absolutely right, Greg. But
And this is all on me, by the way. I mean, I have to take the Ranger sword because if we go
you
back and
drafted
play
him, right?
tape.
You
No,
drafted him?
he's not on fantasy. But if we go back and play tape, he was my breakout star. He was winning 15 games, and that was my bold prediction. So Ranger, I know you're a fan of the show. I'm sorry. You stood no chance this year.
No, Rangers not your fault. It's not your fault.
I mean, like I said, his batting average against Hans Cruz is people are only batting 164 against him. So if you look at that side of it and take out the ERA and some of that stuff, I mean, that's pretty good, right? And it's pretty good. Guys only hit 167 against you. So that's interesting when a guy like Painter obviously is a while away. No, Cruz must be hurt this year because he hasn't pitched in 2022.
I think he just came back.
He just came back. Okay.
Or he's supposed to come back.
Like Painter's in Clearwater, he's in A-ball, right? And guys are only batting 134 against him. 60 strikeouts to 15 walks in 32 innings. I mean, listen, I'm not telling you to go do it right now, but I'm just telling people how it is. Like, pitchers only have so many bullets in the chamber. So if you feel like that guy's like, how do you think you ruin him? Like, I've always laughed at this. Like, if a guy, and again, I would like to see him get to the next level, right, before I would bring him up, right? Like, hey, I'm going to move you up. If you deal, you'll be up in a month, right? You know what I mean? Type deal. I know Greg probably agrees with that, okay? Like, I maybe not could bring you up right from A-ball, but I would run you to Double-A, and if you're getting outs and guys aren't getting hits against you, I would think about that kind of shit.
The only way, in my opinion, you ruin a guy like that is the yo-yo effect. It's the only way you really ruin him. You don't ruin him by getting his feet wet. If you ruin a guy, this is just my personal opinion. If you ruin a guy by getting his feet wet, maybe on paper a year early, then is he really that guy? If he can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he can't handle it, is he really that guy?
Yeah, I mean, at 19, I don't know, right? You know what I mean? To be fair to the kid, too. At 19, like, I don't know if you're ready for that game yet.
Yeah, I mean, the body grows and changes so much from 19 to 22.
And I'm not
You know
saying
what I
a
mean?
19-year-old, but you know how the Phillies are. You know, they'll babysit a 23-year-old. Is my point.
Oh, there's no question.
But the guy's also 6'7" and 215 pounds right now. And why not run him up to Double-A and just see?
Mm-hmm.
Just see. Like, you know what I mean? You got nothing to lose. I mean, Mick Abel's in what's Abel in? He's in A. He's with the Blue Calls.
Yeah.
I mean, another big guy.
Like full season A, yep.
And now he's getting hit. I mean, he's guys are batting 233 against him. So a little bit better, obviously, but still, I mean, 43 strikeouts in 32 innings compared to 14 walks. So when you look at Painter and you look at Mick Abel, the one thing you can hang your hat on is it looks like there's not control issues. So if I don't have control issues, I should be okay then to move levels and say, hey, maybe one of these two guys is ready after the All-Star break, and if I have to move Ranger to the pen or whatever, right? We're just really like just hanging on anything we can hang on for hope. But good organizations move their guys through when they dominate at a level. And right now, Andrew Painter is beyond A-ball, boys. He's beyond A-ball. Okay, those numbers say, listen, I'm a big fan of confidence, dude, but get him up in the Double-A now.
Yeah.
Now.
I don't even think we're grasping for straws. I think we're doing what this organization hasn't been for the past however many years, and that's we're not trying to stay status quo. We see there are issues. We're like, okay, let's try and resolve the first issue. You know what I'm saying? Like it would be easy for us to come up and bring up problems if we don't have solutions. We're bringing up solutions that aren't. We're not asking to trade Bryce Harper today or trade JT Realmuto today. No, we're asking, hey, maybe think about moving Ranger to the bullpen. While to your point, Greg, yeah, he really can't find the strike zone, but at least in the bullpen, he's not going to screw up an entire game because you're depending on Ranger to give you at least 5 quality innings, and he can't get you out of the 4th inning. So we're then now the bullpen's playing from behind. You know what I'm saying? If you're relying on him in a smaller sample size, which he thrived in, which gave both the organization and himself confidence to try him out as a starter, okay, well, maybe let's revisit that. You know, okay, Hans, he's coming back from injury. Okay, he's getting hit around a little bit when he was pitching. Okay, maybe that's when we go out and we look at what a Reese Hoskins package could get. Could you get, a fourth or fifth starter, maybe another arm, for example? Okay, maybe let's bring up a Logan O'Hope or a Derek Hall, for example. Let's try these things out because what we already have aren't working. Like I use this as a perfect example, and this is the extreme outlier. But you see, you send down Roman Quinn, you put Gene on the IL, and you bring up Nick Maton. You do that out of necessity. You don't do that because, oh my God, Nick Maton's lighting it up down there.
Chase Utley 2.0.
But you get Nick Maton of all people, who we laugh at the Chase Utley, the next Chase Utley thing, but a new face. Oh my God, he was a big part of winning this baseball game, wasn't he?
Hey,
So, that home run?
Yes, it was
I got the ball.
It was the
top
spring
hurt.
of Maton for like 2 months, and then he didn't hit ever again. I think he was like.
Because they started playing him every day. And once they started playing him every day, you get exposed when you're not that kind of guy.
You're not that guy.
But you could be a good bench piece, a guy who plays 2-3 times a week and really help a baseball team out. There's other ways to help a baseball team out than playing every day, too. And Sleeves, I couldn't agree with you more. Like, find out what a guy's made of. I mean, it's funny, like, that I actually, like, not many guys you can say, oh, I saw that guy pitch, right? Like, live. I mean, he was 17 years old, but that dude was mowing at 17. That was gigantic. He must have been 6'5" at 17. Like, he was huge. Huge. I'm like, oh my God, your favorite.
Was that down in PGA, Georgia?
Yeah. Where you run into like guys that are like, whoa, hello. And I know Sweeps has probably ran into more than that. And you're just like, well, your eyes are like, wow. Okay. So this is what a big leaguer looks like at 17, right? And you knew it. You just knew it. And he's proven that everywhere he's gone. Like, you know what I mean? He's proven that at every level now. Yeah. So to me, it's like, what do you have to lose? What? The guy comes in and deals? Now, I would get him to AA before I do it, right? But still, like, okay, you get a month of AA. If the guy's pitching well, why not?
You can't
I mean, his
fast
name's
track a
Andrew
guy.
Painter. I mean, it's a perfect pitcher name. Andrew Painter. I mean, I don't think Abel's that good. Like, I'm not a big Mick Abel guy, but Andrew Painter was a pick I really liked from different people. Remember this.
Mm-hmm.
Mick Abel's from a different regime. I believe, if I'm correct. I believe he's still from. I believe Mick's still from the Quintac train, or the Quintac.
Yes, he
That's
is.
correct. That's correct.
Where Painter isn't.
Correct.
So if you're just hanging on some hope there, but the numbers are proving he's better than Mick already. That's the hysterical thing about it. Because the other group of jabronis couldn't draft a goddamn. I told you, we could sit here and you can just flash names and be like, I like that guy. You just give me like a highlight video and we would do better. Like, that's how sad it is.
The other regime, I mean, you could talk about how good they were just based off of one name. When the creme de la creme in their eyes was Spencer friggin' Howard, tells you all I need to know.
Yeah, stinks.
Like, that was their
Mickey.
Say that again?
Their only two saving graces of their days is Mickey and Alec. Like, those two guys got to be studs.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense? Like, that's the only way that they repair all the bullshit they did.
I mean, you look at the
first. Both are by them, right, Greg? I know Mickey is. I don't know about Alec. I feel like he is, though. He's got it.
Yes, Alec definitely is.
I think they drafted.
They were
2019. I think Bohm was.
Yeah,
I think.
So if Mickey can play and Alec can play, then you're like, okay. Like, it doesn't feel as egregious, but it is.
Well, yeah. I mean, and the biggest thing too, and this goes back to consistent at bats. You go back to the first month of this season. Alec Bohm didn't look like he knew how to play baseball. Period. He didn't. On the field, he was still kind of struggling a little bit with the, at the plate. And what happens? Nope, you're going to work through it. You're going to work through it. You're going to work through it. He did. And him right up with Harper when Harper's been healthy, and Gene before he got hurt. Those, in my opinion, were the three most consistent key factors of your lineup doing well.
Ryan, let me give you one more name, guys. And this one's going, I feel like, makes you laugh a little bit. So Francisco Morales came up. Okay, he is your number 10 prospect in your organization. He came up, and he pitched in 2 games. He had a save, pitched 3 innings. Okay, walked 4 guys. Not ideal, but struck out 3. Okay, earned run average is 0. Back down. So my point is like, why not ride it out and see if like this is the mind fuck that is the Philadelphia Phillies. Like, why not, dude? What are you doing? What are you doing? You care about AAA trophies? Like, let the guys sort of figure it out, but you yo-yo him. You give him 2 games and you send him right back down. I'm like, no, can we leave him up and get a sample size for a minute? Because he does have stuff. He does throw it. He does got giddy up on his shit, right? He's got late movement. It looks like he throws a really fucking heavy ball, right? There's from your eyes. Okay. Now listen, control issues out of your pen is never a good time. But come on, man. Come on. This is the shit I'm talking about. He's not better than Familia.
Do you or Bellotti? First off, where the hell did Bellotti come from?
Bellotti?
You know, Norwood.
I can't do Pilates.
Yeah, like and Tom, do
Tom,
you remember when they sent him down? Because I remember the exact day. I remember getting the notification. Do you remember what happened like the night before?
Morales?
Yes.
No.
It was after a save situation. Like he had like a really good, like he saved the game. I believe he like finished out the game, and it was one of those like, oh, good for the kid moments type thing, because they had to throw him into the fire because once again Joe Girardi got caught with his pants down. He had like no pitchers left, and they finished that off and they sent him down right afterwards.
They got scared.
And he has 35 strikeouts in 22 innings from Reading and Lehigh. So
Looks like control though is his biggest issue.
yeah, it looks like it.
And they call up, instead of calling him up today, Tom, in the roster rotation, they called up good old Christopher Sanchez, because we know he's
Sanchez.
Great. Christopher freaking Sanchez, we got to see again.
Make it up. You just can't. And I'm not saying that guy's the answer, right? We're not saying that.
I'd like to find out.
Yeah.
I mean, let's go back, right? How many times did we hear about now I'm blanking on his freaking name. Adonis Medina, right? How many times did we hear about some of these other guys that were supposed to be these stars, and then we bring them up and they're nothing.
Or they don't even get to the point
or they
where
don't even get here.
Cornelius freaking Randolph.
Yep, that's a great name, actually.
That's
great.
He's in Chicago now.
Selling cars, or is he still playing?
No, I think he's with the White Sox, to be honest with you.
Selling cars.
Yeah, I mean, could have fooled me. I mean, they tried him down in minors playing every freaking position.
That's when you know it's a bid. We're going to draft a shortstop, number 8 overall, but he's automatically going to move to left field.
Greg, they were last time I saw him, they were trying him at first base. They were trying him at first base.
This isn't like Bryce Harper being drafted number 1 overall as a catcher and them thinking long term and be like, we're just going to make him an outfielder. No. Like, you're drafted a kid from Georgia, a shortstop from Georgia. The kid probably should be able to play baseball.
Yeah. Greg, they
probably
the last time the last
it
time
might be able to play shortstop, right?
The last time I did a Cornelius Randolph check-in, on the computer, they tried him out at first base, Greg. Lord knows how many positions they tried him out before they got to that one.
So let's do a check.
It's like the Howie Roseman effect in some ways, where they try to be the smartest man in the room with everything.
Let's do Cornelius Randolph check-in. Oh, you got a Braves hat on.
Oh, great.
He'll be great.
Drafted by the Phillies.
What pick was he, Greg?
Number 8.
I was going to say 7. I was going to say 7.
10, sorry.
Okay. Who was 7? Was that Hazley?
Hazley was the number 7. 22, he is the old Birmingham Barons for the Chicago White Sox.
Yep. It is the White Sox.
And actually, he is playing independent ball now for Kane County in the American Association.
I mean,
batting .377 in independent ball in 11 games.
Call him. Get him in here.
Listen, this is what I'll say. I don't give a fuck about your first round picks and them being whatever. I care about your overall body of work with everything, because like those picks aren't necessarily going to be the guys, right? Like, what kind of work do you do in the second round? What kind of work do you do in the 10th round? What kind of work do you do internationally? Like, it's more to it than other sports where it's like, hey, how do we do in the first round, right? Make sense? Like, It's the one sport, unless you got number 1 overall, right? And that doesn't even always pan out. So, Like the fact is, like, what else do you do? And the problem is when you're missing on first ones and then you're missing everywhere else, then that's where you got a problem.
And that's what compounds as of right now, like the Mickey Moniak draft, right? As of right now, we still don't know what Mickey is in the majors. Hopefully he can pan out, because in theory, the reason they drafted Mickey was so he was cheap, right? He was cheap signing bonus.
The high school kid.
High school, right?
Yep.
And they wanted to overpay Kevin Gowdy, the second-round pick, and steal him from college by overpaying him. Meanwhile, Kevin Gowdy's no longer with the Phillies. He might not even be in baseball. He's been hurt the whole time.
I was literally about to say who.
Yeah, I can't even kill him for the hurt part because that's unknown, right?
No, the hurt, but when both of those don't work out, and as of right now, Mickey hasn't worked out. We hope by the end of the year we can take that off of his mantle, right? You know what I mean? Like, we hope that we can take that away from him and say that, you know, he's going to work out, because it would be the best interest of this team for him to work out. But that's what, you know, when you look at the glaring draft, because I think that was the draft Pete Alonso's drafted in the second round. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
yeah.
and Greg, with the Mickey Moniak thing, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. When after you call him up, right, you fast tracked him. That's what they did. Oh, you're healthy. Okay, you're going up. You're going back up. Great, awesome. That's what you should do. And you play Odubel effing Herrera or Roman Quinn before you designate him for assignment, or whatever no-name guy that you think can play baseball that clearly can't, over him. You're not giving him the chance. You're not. Like, listen, I have no idea what he is. Okay? I'm going to lean on what he did in spring training because it's the first time he's flashed anything. And I'm going to be, okay, build on that. It sucks that you suffered a hand injury right before the season. It's typical Phillies. Of course that happens, right? But you've had, for I don't even know how many years now, when you look at the center field position, it's been a walking disaster. So it's not like Shane Victorino's out there, right? Nobody's blocking you. Nobody's blocking you whatsoever. You have guys who just flat out can't play baseball, whether it's the 7th overall pick in Hazley or Odubel Herrera, who just sucks, or whatever. Matt Vierling, who everyone tried to convince us, you know, in the organization that he's good, and I think he had 2 hits, period. Like, he sucks. Let the guy who you value to draft that high, whether it's because he was cheap or whatever reason, you drafted him 1, let him show you who he is. For God's sakes.
No,
That's all I am.
it's just leave him. Like, you could see it this year. Like, his body was bigger, right? He looks stronger. So, like, if you feel like he's not physically there, then just leave him in AAA, right? Like, not this year, but like the year before. Don't yo-yo him. Just, like, keep him there, right? Just say, okay, you're going to stay in AAA. We don't feel like you have a big league body yet. Feel like you haven't grown into it yet. And then you see this year and you tell him what he needs to do and get bigger, get stronger, right? And then this year he comes into camp and he looks like a guy who was a first overall pick, size-wise, losing baseballs, like you said, Rye. Hey, some sort of flashes of saying, okay, looks like he can play. Now, the hand injury is nothing you can do anything about. But now that he's back, it's time's yours, dude. Time's yours.
Pat, number 11 was Tyler Stevenson, catcher. I think he's currently with the Reds. And number 12 was Josh Naylor from Miami, first baseman. I think he's actually I think he might be with the Reds too, if not the Indians. That was 11 and 12.
Yeah, and again, you probably find some better players in the second round. And if you go through that draft and players later on that were taken that are high up,
for sure.
You know, it's just the way baseball is. It's weird like that. So, you know, they just got to listen. They got to start doing a better job with it. And
that was also the Scott Kingery draft too. So again,
oops. I got to ask you guys this. While I think we all agree, you know, from the open that this move's not going to turn this team into a 95 win ball club. You know, Jason Stark said on the radio today that, you know, everything that he's hearing is that Joe Girardi's job security isn't really in danger, at least in an imminent fashion. That's just one guy's opinion, what he's hearing. But when/if, even though I think we all believe it's more of a when, he's fired, Joe. What names stand out to you whether it's in the organization or people sitting at home, both that you think will and also names that you would like to see be discussed as a potential replacement?
To me, it's one guy, and it's the guy that's kind of been passed up the last couple of times. And I don't know if it's because he was in the organization or if it's just because maybe he's not that. Maybe the front office doesn't think he's that good. If it's in season, I just think it goes to Dusty Watham.
Yeah,
I agree.
If it's out of the season, then I think they do a full-on search. I don't think they're going to do a full-on search mid-season. I just think Dusty becomes that guy. His working interview is the rest of the year. Yeah, whatever that is, right? You know what I mean?
Interim manager for the rest of the year. I
don't
know. I'd have to look and see who's even available, and who's sitting at home that's worthy of that phone call. I'm done. I've seen enough from Joe, but I'm just letting it ride. I'll figure it out at the end of the year. You know what I mean? I'll just let it completely fail and then say, okay, all right, that didn't work. Right. Yeah. And I think that's just not, you don't owe nothing to him. It's just, what does it do for you? Does it give you a spark? I don't know if it gives you a fucking spark.
Yeah, no, because you're right. That's all you're doing it for at that point. Because
that's the name right there. Because he wants.
Thank you. Yes,
that's a good name. I've heard that from some other people that are like more,
John,
inside the Phillies organization. John, I've heard that name of him wanting to coach baseball and him being that possible replacement. I just completely forgot about it until you dropped his name in here. That's a great drop in.
Carlos Beltran's probably another name then, kind of on that same ilk.
Yeah,
John, no tie to Phillies, right? But I know he was thrown out there for I think he was thrown out there for the Mets, but didn't he get hung up in one of those cheating scandals?
Yeah, that was the Astros.
The Astros.
Yeah.
He got hung up with that, and then he got kind of tabooed out of there.
I think
him and the guy.
I like Raul. Yeah, it's a good name.
Him and the guy from the Red Sox, the manager, Alex Cora was the one. Yeah, they both got it.
John, that's the name I was going to bring up because I was looking at this the other day. I think it was 3 years ago, he was interviewed by Tampa, and when Tampa wants you, that clearly shows me, okay, I know Tampa knows what they're doing, therefore, okay, I'll take a page out of their book. But he pulled himself out of the running because he just didn't feel like it was his time to go into coaching. He's actually got a really good job high up in league offices in the MLB. So he's absolutely a name. And this isn't like, because I'm sure people hear that name and they're like, oh, of course, a former Philly. Like, no, I don't think any of us are interested because we're trying to do what what the Flyers have done the last, pretty much my entire lifetime. And that's like hire ex-athletes and keep it within the friendly bubble that is Flyers alumni. Has nothing to do with it at all. It's just that guy was highly touted, for that short amount of time when he was interested in managing. A couple very, very successful organizations wanted him, and he's just a true baseball guy. Like I don't see heavy analytics when I look at Raul Ibanez.
Yeah,
somebody who just knows the game.
Yeah, the only problem you have with the analytics is the fact that comes from up top, right? So if up top believes in it, then the coach has to believe in it, right? Because they're not going to hire somebody that's not going to have the same beliefs as them. That's how these fucking assholes work. So, you have to find somebody that buys into your shit. We all seen Trouble with the Curve, right? We've all seen how you better have people that buy into your thought process, or those people won't be there. So, I think it's a great name. I just think it's a name that you wait till the end of the year for.
Yes,
obviously.
Completely agree. Yep.
So that's why there's no need to fire. Because what are you doing, Dusty? Okay, cool, Dusty. You're here right now, and we're failing. So like, you have a role. You're a coach here. Like, you know what I mean? You're a coach on this staff, right? So like, if this fails, the whole staff fails. The whole staff's going, right? It's not like, oh, I'm gonna give this guy the reins after he was just part of the failure. He's gonna be in the same binder.
I'll give you another name, and it's an eye roll to me, but it makes sense because of his previous relationship with Dombrowski, Jimmy Leland.
I would love a Jimmy Leland. You know what I mean? Like I would love for
Do
Jimmy
they
to
come
learn.
with the heaters on the bench?
Yeah.
Like I mean,
Did
you
we
want
get the
old school.
camels?
That's the baseball guy.
How old is Jimmy Leland?
Now that's why it's the eye roll, because I think he's like 86.
Is he that old?
No. I'm exaggerating. I think he's
How
like
old is he?
78.
I need to know the exact age of Jimmy Leland. Right?
Do you want me to look it up, or do we want
Yeah, I'm
somebody
not
else to
looking
look
at
it up?
I'm
Go
gonna
ahead,
guess.
Greg.
I'm gonna guess and say 78. I'm gonna guess.
Greg's gonna say 42.
Well,
Yeah.
well, if we're putting the Jordan
42
Davis
and in
thing,
great
That's what I
shape.
said. Do you want me looking it up, though?
if we're putting the Jordan Davis thing on it, he's going to be 122. If it's going to be the Jordan Davis rule.
77.
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh,
I'll pass.
Yeah.
I'll
I'll
pass.
pass. That's way out of this era of baseball. There's
although-
gonna be no.
although I'd
you
be
want to
in-
talk about? You want to talk about no connecting the dugout? Oh my goodness, bring him in. There'll be no connection in the
If
dugout.
he's passing around heaters in the dugout, though, I'm in.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
like-
Rule is probably the better name.
Yeah.
like that name has been mentioned. The other two names that have been mentioned, and listen, it's great. The nostalgia, it's awesome. It'll make me smile, but then I'll be worried about their health. They're talking about doing another run of kind of a tandem of Charlie Manuel, Larry Boa.
Oh God,
And,
no.
and I'm not putting Charlie Manuel through this. I'm not doing it. I can't put Charlie Manuel through this.
Does
again.
Charlie want to sit there and talk hitting? Sure. Right. You know, and Larry be the more the vocal guy and more the decision making. Okay. But then you're sort of doing flyer stuff.
Yeah.
Like, would it be the worst thing like mid-season to do?
As an interim,
Yeah.
Like, hey, can this work? Can we bring a little life here? Get some different eyes on it? Maybe. So listen, at this point when you're failing, you're not, everything's on the table. Like we're talking about 77-year-old Jimmy Leland and a pack of Marlboros. So, and I would take him over Joe Girardi right now. That's a crazy thing, but I wouldn't hire him like at the end of the year. Then I would look for like the Rolls or some of the bigger names out there. Yeah, well, Dusty's 77. Yeah, Molly, he's 72, not 77. 77's old. Like not saying the guy can't do it. Like, if they went Jimmy, I'm not going to be like, what are you guys doing? I mean, I already know you don't know what you're doing, but maybe it can, bring life, because that's what you do it for, right? You fire in season hoping that it brings life to your baseball team.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason that teams do it. They're saying, okay, this is just not working. We need a different voice. Now, but what most do is they hire that voice off their bench. So it's the same voice. It's just a different voice. So does that do anything?
Well, here's the other thing with Jimmy.
Besides, he makes different decisions. Like, does he make different decisions on who he runs out there? Does he, right? Like, that's the only change. Maybe a change in philosophy, a change in feel. Sure.
He hasn't managed since 2013 either.
Yeah, he's
Who,
way out of
Jimmy?
baseball.
Yeah, Jimmy.
He probably doesn't even know what the shift is. What's a shift?
Well, it's going to be going anyway soon. So
Yeah, oh yeah. All right,
Just
bring
in
him back.
time, Ralphie. Just
Bring
in
him
time,
back, baby.
Well, I think what you're seeing from the New York Mets, it tells you something. They're like old school
Back to a
baseball.
little old school.
Some teams are doing it. Some teams are going back to it.
Well, Tom, you're telling me the eye test is actually something that works? What?
It's just that like contact's cool.
Yeah.
There's no defense for a strikeout. Make sense? There's no defense for a strikeout ever. Guys gotta still make a play and throw a baseball for a ball in play. And we're talking about the team that has like the least exit velo in baseball, the most in-play balls in baseball. You want to know why a team's good? There's other ways to win, sure. But that's a great starting point. Hey, you know what? We're contact junkies. We're unselfish contact junkies.
Let's go back to the last couple. It was in the last week. One game we didn't win the game, and the other game we did win the game, right? Alec Boehm was at bat for both of them. The weak ground ball to Max Muncy, right? Boots the ball. But I think he was down to 2 strikes. But regardless, he put the ball in play, right? Put the ball in play, made Muncy have to make a play. And then last night, he hits the ball up the middle. Ironically, Roman Quinn's on second base with both of them. Hits the bag, and Roman scores to extend the game. And then we just lose by further heartbreak. But again, putting the ball in play, there's so many things that happen.
We'll continue it to today, Greg. Continue it to today.
I didn't watch today, unfortunately.
Well, that's
Probably
fine.
why they
Like,
won.
well, continue doing this. Continue doing
You're
this.
welcome.
Thank you, Greg. I believe it was either in the 4th or 5th inning. This is obviously before you had the Schwarber 2-run and then the Maton 2-run homer. So they were obviously very important. Those were 4 runs, obviously. But what kind of got the ball rolling was you kind of played a little bit of small ball or kind of put literally the ball in the defender's hands and made them make a play. You had a slow roller to third, and that ended up being an infield hit for somebody. But that's when Odubel Herrera ended up backtracking and going to third, and he was called safe. And then Nick Maton lays a bunt down right afterwards. The first baseman can't make a play. He ends up missing it with his glove. 1 run scores, and that leads to, I think, a 2 or 3 run inning.
Balls in play.
Yes.
Great.
So you don't need to put it in the second deck and have a bunch of 5 designated hitters, which are basically what this lineup has, for you to have an 86 win to 90 win roster. No, hit for contact. That's it. Especially with how bad, Tom, you'll be the first person to say this, like how bad defense is in baseball nowadays compared to how it used to be. Make somebody make a play, please. There's more errors than I've ever freaking seen.
Yeah, the fundamentals are sort of out the window a little bit with some things, but it just listen. That single that blooper can drop in, right? That little, but broken bat, base hit up the middle can happen. Like there's so many different ways to be successful, but the main way to be successful is I'm not like saying like small ball teams to death. Put baseballs in play, have a lineup that can run. Right, to create havoc with hit and runs, different situations like that. Like if we hit and run all year, like you know what I mean. Like if we hit and run all year, I don't know that. Eventually, probably not.
I know early in the year we were attempting to steal some bags, which was
like
good
a hit
to see.
And run. Like do we hit and run anymore?
I think what I saw was straight steals.
That's the problem. Like we don't do any of these types of things that put pressure on teams. Right, every catch is on the knee, so maybe get some guys who can run, right, and they can take bags. Now you got to get on, obviously, but it's nice to have guys that can create some pressure. I mean, if you look at the Mets, they got some pressure there. Mm-hmm. They're not just like I'm gonna hit, I'm gonna out homer you to death.
Well, and you've got Bohm again. I go back to 2 of the 3, key parts of your lineup, at least in the successful side of things. Bohm and Segura. They're 2 guys that just put balls in play. They're not going to give you 40-something home runs. They're hitting for contact. That's all. That's what Bohm was doing, when he first came up. That's what really, I think, gave us the confidence heading into last year. Now, clearly that didn't work out because they went the whole launch angle route and that screwed him up. But he's kind of reverting back to what he was when he came up, putting balls in play.
That's fine, right?
It's like, extremely valuable because if you're getting on base, well, then that's going to give Kyle Schwarber key opportunities to have a 2-run home run or Castellanos or Harper. That's the issue is a bunch of our guys are hitting solo home runs because nobody's getting on base.
Well, that's what we said when we were struggling, right? Like, Alec, if you're going to bat 220 and then hit 30 home runs, hit 40 home runs, right? If you're going to bat 280, 290, then we're okay with you only hitting 12, 15 home runs. Sure, we would love the power to come, and it still might. But we'd much rather have that 300 hitter or that 290 hitter in our lineup, to your point, Ryan, getting on base, moving people along, right? Moving guys to the next base and stuff like that. No, absolutely. And it's good to see him bounce back, right? It's good to see him not only bounce back after last year, but bounce back after the beginning of this year and then the whole debacle that kind of started around him. It's great to see him bounce back.
Well, and honestly, like I think.
By the way, Girardi's on the last year of his guaranteed deal. By the way.
Yep.
So if they just let it ride out the year, they're just probably not going to extend him.
Mm-hmm.
So they have an option for next year, but it's not guaranteed.
No, that's correct.
So that kind of leads me to believe that he's just going to be a lame duck.
Yeah,
the whole year.
They'll just kind of coast, and then I'm sure if they start struggling, even more than they are, and they really fall out of it, they'll. I could see organization blaming injuries. Oh, we lost Gene. Oh, Harper's been, banged up. The Harper thing's really going to decide things because apparently he's not expected to play on Friday now, at least according to Girardi from earlier. But real quick I think one of the biggest flaws of this lineup, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, is forget about the fact that, you look at a lineup that's consisted of majority guys that should just be designated hitters. And, when they're struggling on offense, you're definitely not getting it back on defense because, again, designated hitters. But you can have a game where you had, as a Phillies offense collectively, 4 home runs, but on the scoreboard, that's only getting you 5 runs.
Yep.
That's an issue. That's an
Complete issue.
And that's because, to our point, you don't have a lot of guys that are just getting on base. You're not hitting for contact. It's either strikeout or, okay, you're hitting it out. It's going to be a solo shot. It's literally like the Bryce Harper syndrome from early last year, where I think he had 12 or 13 home runs, and they're all solo before he had
like only 20 RBIs.
Yes. I think 13 of his
or maybe
first
even worse
were all solo shots.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think it was 13 or 15 of 15. Yeah.
That's all carried on to the entire team now.
Yep.
That's really that's a huge issue.
And when you have so many guys like that, because we currently have that, right? Nick's traditionally not been that, but he's currently there right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nick's traditionally a guy that's going to bat you near the upper echelon of the 200s and the 300s, right? He's going to drive baseballs. He's going to hit doubles. That's what he's traditionally been. Schwarber's always been the swing and miss guy, right? Gene's always been the contact guy. Alec has seemed like he's turned into contact guy. Reese has always been the swing and miss guy. To your point, the problem with having so many of those guys and them sprinkled throughout the lineup is it's tough to sustain innings.
It's not balanced.
It's tough to have a crooked number, right? Unless you lose 2 or 3 baseballs in an inning, unfortunately, you're not going to hit them around, right? You know what I mean? So that's like your only real, chance sometimes to have a big inning is to lose baseballs, and that's all fun and game, and that's part of the game. But I'd much rather see you score 15 runs and that's 25 hits. You know what I mean? Like in a game and stuff like that.
Can you check, because with all
hitting is contagious.
Yeah, of course. With all the statistics in baseball, I'm sure you could find this. Is there a way you can find on Baseball Reference or something like where they calculate the amount of 3-run home runs this team has had, 2-run home runs, single home runs, like where I actually want to see if they actually have that, because I want to see if my eyes are lying to me, because who knows, maybe they might have more, 2-run home runs or 3-run home runs than solo shots. But I'm just interested to see that, because to me, and Ralphie, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that kind of what you've seen also, to where your home runs are coming, but they're only solo shots?
Yeah, and I've also go ahead, Greg.
Go, Ralph, go.
Oh, go ahead, Tom.
I got not go. Go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, I agree with you, with Rye, where it's been mostly solo shots, and another times too, where have you seen it these past weeks where you had I think it was in the other game, you had the bases loaded and there was no outs, or there was 1 out and you couldn't get anything, or you had multiple guys in scoring position with 1 or no outs and you came up with no runs. And it's been like that for the past 3 weeks now. And where and obviously Bryce has been in and out of the lineup with the elbow, and even with the elbow problem, he's still one of the best hitters we have on the team, which is insane to me, because everybody advertised that Nicky was going to come in and he was going to rake because of how small this ball field is, and the same thing with College Schwarber, and it seems like we haven't been able to get that yet from both of those guys quite yet for this first year with both of them.
I think it's coming with Schwarber. I like that would be, and I'll ask you guys once Greg finds the stat and everything. But like, if I had to come up with like one bold prediction for like the next month, I think Schwarber is going to have I think he's going to have a big month, because the thing with Schwarber is that run is coming. We know it's there.
Yeah.
Right. Like we know
he's been like that. He's been like that his whole entire career. Yeah. Where he's been quiet to start off a little bit, but once June, July, and August come around and the summer days come around is when he really explodes. I mean, go look at his numbers when he was with the Red Sox during those times too, and look at those numbers when he was with the Cubs too. Well, and during the months of June, July, and August.
I'll say you.
Oh, and yeah, in Washington, yeah, as well, yeah.
More consistent, I would say I would lean towards Castellanos there. Okay. Schwarber will lose baseballs, yeah, that's what he does, but he's still going to strike out a ton. So no matter what, and it's going to be hard to get that average up from what it is now too. But Nick's got to be the guy, right? I mean, Nick's got to find his way and start being the Nick Castellanos that was advertised and that he's been his whole career. I mean, Nick Castellanos never been sent down. Kyle Schwarber's been sent down, right? So they're a little bit different in their consistencies in terms. Like Schwarber will get hot, sure. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to say that. And yeah, sweet. That's why I like a little Nick Maton in a way, because he'll bring you a little small ball, and I like that we did it. You know, I like that we did it. I like that we're willing to do it and steal runs, because that run you stole won you a baseball game today, if you think about it. So, you know, we preach to our kids all the time, Sleeps, the little things. Hey, if you do all the little things well, you're going to be in a baseball game, right? If you're able to steal runs, and right, to your point about the homers, quickly, because I'm going to forget about it, is that this team struggles with anything off speed. I mean, that's the problem. You don't have enough pure hitters that don't swing and miss through anything that's spinning. I mean, that's what I watch with my eyes. I watch a bunch of fastball junkies. I don't know what the numbers say.
And then they still can't hit fastballs.
And I'd venture to guess this is more of a fastball group, which is fine. Everybody in the league hits fastballs. But where's the part of my lineup of guys that really can put all-speed pitches in play and battle? I don't know where that's at.
They're chasers. That's all they are. They chase.
I'm still looking for that other stat for Ryan, but what I did find so far, MLB batting average is balls in play. Right? Last year we ranked 22nd at 286. Okay? This year, surprisingly, Mets are number one. We already talked about that, right? Surprisingly, we're 7th at 297. But here you go, right? Your last 3 games, we struggled mightily those last 3 games, 203.
But we also had chances to win those games if we get some outs. So it takes 2 to 10, right? We could talk about the offense and their inconsistencies. I don't know how many runs they average a game and where that shakes out. But at the end of the day, you got to get outs. Okay, we know they're going to score. We know they're going to hit enough, right? Like they've only had those types of games where it's like, man, you know, this offense looks brutal, right? For the most part, they've scored some runs. We've been in games, right? Especially over our tailspin since we came
11th.
back. 11th?
4.48.
Okay. I mean, that's enough to be able to win baseball games.
Yeah, I mean, your last 3, you're at 4 even in your last 3 games.
Yeah, and you've been in dogfights.
Detroit's at the bottom at 282, just to kind of give you the end. Right, yeah. And then the Dodgers are at top at 5.51.
Yep, as they should be. But if you get outs, you're going to win baseball games.
So you figure you're a run below the Dodgers, and you're 2 runs above Detroit, where you're at the bottom.
Yeah. So it's not like it's inept. You know, how many runs did we give up a game? Where's that rank? How many blown saves? How many one-run games have we lost?
Well, this was I was listening to this when I was on the plane last week, so obviously this is a little dated, but at the time, as far as like total efficiency with pitching, the Phillies were ranked 3rd for their starters, just like in total pitching.
Yeah, so
that's not the issue. That like if you would have told all of us before the year, okay, the starting pitching will be top 3, we'd be like, oh my God, we're 2 games up in first. We're not 11 games back.
Yeah, but when you can't get the final 3 or the final 6 or 9, here we are. Mm-hmm. So we're Groundhog's Day with that again.
Run differential, we're even, Tommy.
Run differential, we're even.
Run differential, you're even.
Well, here you go.
Versus you look at the Dodgers, plus 116. Yankees, Mets, who were like the Yankees, who were the best team in baseball for a month, right? That was fun. 79, Mets 72, and then you look at Pittsburgh negative 81, Kansas City minus 73, Washington minus 71. We're middle of the pack at 60 at 0. We're dead even.
Wow.
Yeah, and the last time we were over 500 was April 11th.
Jesus.
And then the most games under 500 is 8 right now. And the last was Tuesday, May 31st. So that's going to grow because we're 21 and 29. So
and Ralphie, that was 3 games into the season, by the way.
Yes. Yep.
We're 2-1.
Yep. Our longest winning streak so far for us is 4. That was Monday, April 25th to that Thursday, and then to Thursday, April 28th, and then Wednesday, May 11th to Saturday, May 4th. 14th, excuse me.
It was the Dodger series, right? It was the one game before the Dodgers series and then the 3, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yep.
Could have been 5, but they
And then
they
our
blew that, they blew that final
longest
game.
losing streak so far this year is 5. That was from the 27th of May to the 31st of May.
How are you?
Most runs allowed this year so far is 11.
I believe we scored 10 runs that game too, Ralphie.
30.23 at bats per home run. That ranks us at 10th.
Yeah, they're just getting outs, man. Who's gonna get outs?
Team home run percentage, 3%. I guess that's of our hits. How many are home runs?
The thing that sucks, and Tom, you and I were talking about this a little bit, last night. It's that, like, just speaking for me, like when the Eagles lose, I get vehemently angry, right? When the Sixers lose, I get vehemently angry. Because of what this team has been, and I love the Phillies. They'll always hold a special place in my heart because they gave me and a lot of us the first championship we ever saw, in our lifetime. So they'll always have a special place. But my God, and this is really, because I said it, when we did our preview show 2 days before the season even started. This is the first year where I allowed myself to be like, okay, they are winning the division. Okay, they are going to get close to 90 wins. Like, this is the first year where I actually had any expectations, which makes it hurt even more. And it's that when they lose now, like this latest stretch, I don't want to say it's apathy, but it's just like I find myself like, I'm not getting angry for this. And I hate saying that because I'm not trying to be like a bandwagon guy because it sucks. It's painful.
Yeah, in the month
like,
Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
No, you're fine, Ralphie. Go ahead.
I know. In the month, I'm just looking at the numbers here that they have. In the month of April, we were 11-11 with 100 runs scored and 88 runs allowed. And then the month of May that just ended, we were 10-18, 124 runs scored with 136 runs allowed.
There you go. There's your even.
So we're 2-2 against the Braves, 1-3 against the Marlins, 3-9 against the Mets, and we haven't played the Nationals yet.
I was.
Here's the last one. Here's the last one for me because I can't find that exact stat.
You're good. That was an extremely niche stat.
But team strikeout percentage.
Okay.
Ranked 23rd at 23.9. And it kind of goes back to the struggles that we've talked about, over the last 2 hours, over the last every show we do about the Phillies, and we strike out extremely way too much.
Oh, I also found the 1-run games so far this year.
Yeah, boys,
I like that.
I got to run, but you guys can finish this. All right.
Okay.
You guys take the last 10, 15 minutes, whatever you guys want to do, because I got to roll out early. But it's been a pleasure roasting.
Yes.
Happy roasting.
Positive. So we'll continue it. Ralphie, give me the 1-run games before I leave.
We are 3-10 in 1-run games.
There you go. There you go.
That's
there
bullpen.
She is.
That's bullpen.
Yep.
There she is. Yeah, there she is. All right, boys.
Tommy, see you, brother.
See you, Tommy.
No, what I was gonna say real quick, and then I don't have much else left unless you guys do. Is that somebody asked me last night, like, why do you put yourself through this? And my gut answer was, I don't know, but that's like not an answer. It's an answer. Like that's how I feel. Like, I don't know why I'm watching this. I don't know. But like when I was thinking deeper about it, it's like, because I know how fun it is and how good it feels when things are actually clicking.
Oh God, yeah.
And it's such a small sample size, and it's pathetic. Like, I get it. It's pathetic for me to even say this, because this was literally 5 days of a season.
Yeah, the first week of the season.
No, I'm not even saying that, Ralphie. I'm going last year. I'm going right away. It was right before the All-Star break, or right after. It was when they were really hot. And I think they swept the Mets. It was it was right along with Alumni Weekend. And it was the first time where the Citizens Bank was packed since the pandemic and everything. And they were winning. And I think maybe even they touched first place for 30 seconds. Like a week in freaking July. Nowhere close to playoffs. For much time, which we saw. They collapsed once again. But it's like, oh my God. That's a speck of what we used to have. That's why I continue to watch, because I know how good it feels, because like for a majority, and I'll speak for you, Ralph, because you and I are, 2 days away from having the same birthday. You know what I'm saying? Like we're the same age.
Yeah.
Where for a majority of our lifetimes, the Phillies have sucked. Like they have been one of, and Ralph, you and I used to get in debates all the time about this, what we would say. Like I would say this back in like 2018 doing shows. And I would say this is one of the worst organizations in baseball. And people in the chat would get mad at us for saying that. Like, oh no, it's not that bad. No, it's that bad. Because I don't talk about that saying, oh, the 2012 to present run. No, I talk about it from 1996 when Ralph and I were born. From 96 to 07.
That's been the track.
They sucked. From
06. Go 06.
What did I say? 07?
07.
Okay.
07, because 07, Matt Holliday still has a touch home plate.
Fair. So,
but they're at least in the playoffs or the play-in game, right?
Fair. So from 96 to 2006, sucked.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Embarrassing. From 2012 to present, even more embarrassing. Mm-hmm. So for my entire lifetime, 07, 08, 09, 10, 11. And even in 11, it hurts me talking about it. 11 hurts me, and they were the best damn team in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we get to watch 5 good years of Phillies baseball in my lifetime. In that whole run.
To be honest with you guys, I'm older than you guys, obviously. I don't have much more.
No, you
I have 93,
right? Yeah.
Right, I have 93. There. I was born in 81, so I missed 80, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I missed 80. So I have 93, but that was a flash in the pan. You know what I mean? It's not like we had to build up to 93. 93 happened and we just all fell in love. It was just like, this is the greatest thing ever. But then, all right, 94 probably was decent just because most of that team was back, but they didn't go to the World Series again, right? And so I have, one more year than you guys?
Yeah.
And that's the pathetic side of it, right? That's the pathetic side of it is I'm 20 years older, right? Or 15 years older, and still don't have that much more like good baseball to watch.
Yeah. And what you had, and this is by no means, I'm not demeaning the 93 team at all because it was special and people still talk about that team like it was special, but the one extra year you have, Greg, and a lot of people will be right in the same boat as you, was a fluke year.
Complete fluke.
It was a fluke year. They won despite themselves.
Yes.
Nothing about them. That wasn't roster construction. That wasn't organizational success. That was a bunch of guys that caught lightning in a bottle.
They were having fun and they were playing for each other.
Yes, they were just playing. They figured it out as it went.
A bunch of gritty dudes that just bucked the system.
So that has nothing. Like I said, they won despite the organization.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So that's what pains me. It's that I lose zero sleep at night saying this is one of the 3 worst, if not one of the worst organizations in all of sports. Forget baseball.
Yeah.
And they're ours.
I'd probably agree with it. Yep.
Yeah, and people talk about, oh, Ryan, you have to put the Flyers in there. No, the Flyers went to the Cup in 2010.
As much as I hate it, though, the Flyers had 20 years of making the playoffs every year.
Yeah, and
as much as I hate that as a standard, you were always in there though, right?
Ever since I was born, the Flyers have almost been to the playoffs almost every year.
And I hate that because that's the standard we hold them to, not Stanley Cups, and that's fair. But we'd kill for a playoff spot right now.
Well, absolutely.
But watching these teams, we're not even close.
They had that run in the late 90s. They had the run, the infamous 2004 run when they got eliminated in the conference finals by the Lightning before the strike, which still to this day, my fandom towards hockey has never been the same since then. It had the 2010 year. And also, by the way, for everyone saying, oh, you got to put the Flyers in the mix with the Phillies. Listen, I get it. The Flyers are an embarrassment. I say it to every time the Hockey Happy Hour live that I don't know how they do it. They talk about this team, and I give them all the flowers I can. But since 2012, the Flyers have been in the playoffs. They have won playoff series since 2012. Yep. The Phillies haven't touched
it. Been relevant. Relevant.
Yes. The Phillies haven't touched it. The only time that they've sniffed playoffs was quickly followed by infinite collapses in September. So I don't want to hear, oh, you got to rip the other teams in. No, the Sixers. Listen, you know where the Sixers are, okay? But they make the playoffs, right? They actually do things in the regular season. The Eagles, I'm just going to leave it there. You know what the Eagles have done before and after what the Phillies have done. Okay, in the early 2000s and clearly after, the little run by the Phillies. We don't need to have that conversation. It's like we're waiting. And we're not asking for much. We're not asking for a World Series. I'm not even asking for a playoff run. Get me there with one of the 50 freaking wild card spots. Get me there.
232 million.
Yep. It might miss the playoffs again with Bryce. So that's going to be what, 4 consecutive years.
I don't think
since
there's
he
a
signed.
mite. I don't think there's a mite in there, Ralphie.
Yeah, and it's a shame.
I don't
It's
think
a
there's
shame
a mite
too.
in there, which is sad.
Yep.
Bryce might have to have freaking Tommy John. Gene was one of the pillars of this lineup, and he's going to be gone. I mean, listen, he's going to be gone for the season. Let's just say what it is. He's going to be gone
10
for
to
the
12
season.
weeks. It's 3 months.
This is a conservative
June,
organization
July,
anyway.
August.
They're going to handle.
He comes back what, middle September, end September?
Come back end of August, early September.
For the last stretch of the season.
Is he under contract next year?
Because after the 10 weeks, you still got to go down to AAA and see if it's okay for a couple of weeks.
Is he under contract next year, Greg?
I'm checking.
Because I was going to say if they have any.
No, I think this is his last year.
All right, so maybe
I'm pretty
they might.
sure this is last year.
Because I was going to say if they had like another year or two on him, I could see them saying.
Why are you so far down?
Who?
I said Spotrac. Why were you so far down in the rankings?
Because what else like him today? But like, you know what I'm saying, Ralphie? Like if they had.
There's club option for 23.
Yeah.
Okay.
17 mil.
So if they had, 2 more years left of him, I would say, okay, they would, have the kid gloves on because, we want to get him ready for spring and all that. But, if he's not contractually in their future, okay, maybe they can run him out there. But again, to all of our points, there's no reason to run him out there if you're already mathematically eliminated by the second week in September.
Yep.
And we're saying this on the 2nd of June.
Yep, 2nd of June.
Well, I guess the only thing you could do is you could, pick up the option and then trade him, right? So to counter the playing at the end of the season, you pick up the option, you show that he's come back fully, and then he's a competitor. He's going to want to play if he's healthy. All these guys are going to do that. You know what I mean? Like, this is his first really major injury. I know he's had some nagging injuries here and there, and I know he drives us wild, but he's one of our best hitters.
Oh,
he's only 32. I mean, he'll be 33 next year. If they pick up the option, he's 17 million. I think there's a very high likelihood of them picking up the option because I don't know who you're going to get to fill that void right now. Like I said, I don't think Maton's an everyday player. This Didi's last year, so in theory, you're going to have Stott playing shortstop.
And there's no second base prospect down there.
There's really no second base prospect, and I'm not saying that we can't put somebody there to fill the void, but you're not getting a Gene Segura.
No,
and I mean you're not getting that.
And when you say he drives us crazy, I'll just speak for myself. Like I don't get why people still have issues with him. Like I haven't had issues with him since the whole McCutcheon thing. You know what I mean? Like the lack of running to first base. But
yeah,
if anyone, and I see it all the time, so I know exactly what you're saying, Greg. Like when people try and pick apart Gene Segura, I wish I had 6 more.
Yeah, it's just a hustle thing. You know what I mean? Like, but it drives me wild every once in a while too. Like, come on, dude. Like I didn't need you a triple, but could you got me a double, right? Or stuff like that. Like, but then there's times where he single-handedly stole a run like 3 weeks ago, right? He stole second, stole third, and then scored on a pass ball. So it ebbs and flows, right? But he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys that like in the moment drives you nuts because you wish he hustled like Bryce all the time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, and again, you're holding him to a guy that's ultra hustle and stuff like that. But
I just the last thing I'll say, and then if you guys have anything, by all means, I look at the Phillies at the very bare minimum is just give me time, like get me through the summer. Right? Like, as we talk about it, not just with us doing shows and everything and, with all the A2D stuff, but just as fans, like you go from having a bunch of sports to where like baseball is your sport for a couple months. Unless you're, lucky enough to have a hockey team, which is really good. Not here. And then a basketball team that can actually get you past the second round. Once again, not here. like I don't want to have to start talking Eagles in freaking June. I think that's hysterical. Like I don't want to have to rely on the Sixers and talking about like, oh, here's Sixers talk for the next like 7 months. Like, no, I would like to talk Phillies and not want to throw my my friggin' like everything I own against the TV. I would like that. But it looks like it's gonna be another one of those years where it's like, oh, well, coming up first week of July, it's Eagles training camp.
OTAs.
Yeah.
Who's going to make the roster?
And you're right. That's the worst part about the summer when the Phillies are bad is there's never an off season for the Eagles.
No.
And it drives me wild. It drives me wild.
There's no balance whatsoever.
Because I don't want to talk about them.
No, I know.
But you can't not when the Phillies are terrible. No, and the Flyers aren't playing into the summer. And the Sixers aren't playing into the summer. You know what I mean? Like, what else are you going to talk about?
No, I say it every year. We joke about it with like, with behind the scenes stuff. Like, hey, Eagles, get me to January. Hey, Sixers, get me to late May. I'm not asking you to get to the finals. It'd be nice, but get me to late May. Hey, Phillies, get me to late July. That's like, if you think about it, me asking a baseball team to get me to late July, that's pretty pathetic. Because that's get me to, hey, there's 2 months left of a regular season. I'm not even saying get me to the playoffs. Get me to freaking July because, hey, I could talk Eagles for the majority of August. I can do that. That's understandable.
Yep.
But we're sitting here and it's like, hey, coming up next week, we've got Sixers off season, which we, by the way, fam, we probably will have Sixers off season discussion next week.
Yeah, you guys get to keep your pick.
Yeah. The Nets think we're going to be worse next year.
Wow. I one thing I will say is anything the Nets think is going to happen, it's usually the opposite. So that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Ben Simmons is going to play this year. That's funny. Oh, Kyrie and KD are going to work. That's great. They're the one team that didn't win a game in the playoffs.
Who we drafted at 23?
I don't know. I think nobody. I think they're going to trade the pick. But once again, I would trade anything. Right, Ralphie?
Let's just say who they have at 23 because they still don't have us picking.
Oh, you're going
EJ Liddell.
Yep.
Power forward, Ohio State.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, Doc don't want to. Doc
Jared
another 6'7" undersized power forward.
Well, if we take that name again,
Jared Sullinger, anybody?
Oh my God!
Whoever we draft,
but he's left-handed. He's left-handed though.
Yeah.
So he's the left-handed Jared Sullinger. You're completely correct.
Oh my God!
Whoever we draft, I would like to say because I know Doc Rivers won't play him. Congrats to the Delaware Bluecoats because you'll be getting a player probably for the next 5 years.
Yeah,
because we won't be playing him. Ralphie, any last?
All good over here.
Greg,
all good.
Bullpen. We don't have a lot of bullets. We don't have a lot of assets. So anything that we do has to begin and end in the bullpen. Everything else doesn't matter if you can't close the games.
Of course, the second we start talking Sixers, we got a trade coming. Do you still trade the pick if a good player slides to 23?
Hey, Jordan Poole slid to the mid-20s, right?
Martian, I don't think we're going to have the pick on draft night, if I'm being real. But I'll save any and all Sixers just talk for next week.
That's so
either
funny.
On Monday or
we
Wednesday.
Literally bring it up for a minute, and we get a comment on it already.
But this
is our fan base, and I love it. And I
it's
hate
not
it
even. But it's not our fan base. It's an example of the product of the city to where.
No, as you said, I hate it. And I love it.
We talk Phillies for 2 hours and 20 minutes. Okay, and it's kind of just like okay, you know what I'm saying? We talk Sixers who aren't even playing. And that's how hungry this city is for something that, hey, this team actually gets to the playoffs. They disappoint us and we want to rip our hair out, but at least they get there.
Yeah.
That's how tough it is. Exactly, Martian. We appreciate you. Get used to it. We're going to have a lot of it.
No, we love it, buddy. We love it.
Greg, other than the bullpen sucking, anything else before we?
No. Rangers, big win.
Yeah.
Rangers 6-2 over the Lightning.
How about that game last night from Colorado?
Oh my God!
Oh
my God!
Over.
Out of sheer sake of sanity, I will not be watching any second, and I mean any second of the Lightning Rangers series. Not because I don't like playoff hockey. I love playoff hockey.
Just don't want to
But
see the Rangers win.
I hate the New York Rangers, and the one team I hate more, once again, going back from earlier, because I still have not forgotten that 2004 loss in the conference finals. I despise the Tampa Bay Lightning. And if you say
I'm all in for a three-peat.
That's nice. I'm going to say the one word, Vinny Lecavalier.
Oh, well, he's an idiot.
Well,
our front office is an idiot for that.
Oh, no. I'm talking about going back to the Lightning.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Why do you think I
didn't
find me forever? Before he ever hit ice.
Tanko. Oh, my God.
Before he ever hit ice for us in a Flyers uniform, Greg, I said, this guy stinks. Because he was a former Lightning. I'm like, oh, this is the Al Horford of the freaking NHL. He's a spy. This guy's a double agent. I don't trust this. But fam, we appreciate you with the for tuning in for the little roast session, the little
sucked that they won today.
I know. Like so on brand. Like, can you at least help us out, please? Like the one time, listen, I don't root for losses. We're not saying we root for loss, but if you would have lost today, maybe it would have fueled the anger a little bit more. But no.
Yeah, it's like, and it's funny too. I saw a tweet from Nate Moss over at Muddy Pop Podcast. He said most lucrative over the last week has been fading the Phillies, and of course, Susie sends a tweet out. Boom, they win.
Yep. And they have a 1-2-3 inning in the ninth. I mean, come on, and it's well, yeah, Don, I'll be watching it tomorrow.
Tomorrow, baby. I can't wait.
I have I won't be getting it because I won't be seen with it on the air, but I have a Golden State Warriors hat and I'm looking at over there.
Go Dubs. I won't watch a single second, but go Dubs.
I need Draymond to get another ring.
Maybe a single second, but I won't watch most of it.
I won't be able to handle a Celtics victory.
No, I can't have anything good happen to Al Horford.
Yeah, I can't. The fan base, Al Horford, a former Sixers assistant who gets to another finals, Imo
Jason
Udoka.
Tatum, who should have been ours.
No. See, you're going to get me. This is going to go another 2 hours. I hate when people say that. Like, we could be sitting here with James Harden, Ben Simmons, and Jason Tatum. No. If you were the only reason why the Celtics green-lighted that trade.
You double cross them.
Listen, I like your style. I like it. But Colangelo, Mr. League Office isn't doing that. He's too busy running burners.
I get you. But when you're picking number 1 overall and the guy's on the board, you could have had him.
I get you. But also, they didn't like Jason Tatum in pre-draft workouts.
Because he was too good.
Yeah, because he was a guard from Duke. Or I'm sorry, he was a power forward from Duke.
Small forward from Duke.
Yeah.
He was too good. He was coached too well.
And you took a no-name guy from Washington.
Yeah.
Who was getting paid to go there.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up.
Yeah. See what you do to me?
I'm getting sick.
Oh, yeah, you're getting sick. Bam, you know what doesn't make you sick? You know what doesn't make you sick, Ralphie?
What?
That's using BetUS. It's the leading online sports book that has the best market. And they've been in the market for over 25 years. Listen, that might be the last time the Phillies were like somewhat good. Okay. 25 years. You can bet anywhere in the U.S., literally on anything.
Love them down here in Florida. It's awesome.
You want to bet on the Phillies being bad for another 10 years, you could probably do it. You could probably do it with BetUS. And you could do it from anywhere. Use the promo code for 125% sign-up bonus. Like I said, we're trying to find positives in life. You could find that with BetUS, absolutely.
Absolutely.
KZ, I see your comment. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this with you. Ralphie, Greg, Tom, who joined us earlier. Fam at home, we appreciate you. We love you. Maybe next time we see you, the Phillies will either have a new manager or maybe have a couple more wins. But I would bet the under on both.
Yep.
Later, everybody.